Technically, everybody was here on time. It was just Doc was absent for some reason. Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados, live on Thinking Critical YouTube. No interruptions, Doc. I'm doing my intro, sir.
Well, I didn't know you hit the live button
today, but I had a family vacation or a family trip that was planned today that it got canceled, unfortunately. But in the end, we ended up having torrential downpours all day long, so it's probably better that we weren't at the beach. But we are here to talk about your geek fix. We got Star Wars news. We got Super Mario news. We got comic book news. Lots of interesting stuff to talk about. And a fantastic panel of nerds to talk about it with. Jim from Weird Science. How you doing, Jim?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing great.
How did you almost die this week?
Just from just poor eating and not exercising. I think it's a slow build towards my death. Yes, that's all it is. But I'm fine.
I'm fine. You just eat out all the time?
Yeah. And now, actually, I'm eating a little better. Actually, I am. But
Arby's?
No, Arby's. I'm more of a Carl's Jr. and Wendy's, maybe.
Man, Carl's Jr. is good, but if you have a Carl's Jr., you can't have a
Hardee's?
A Hardee's,
yeah.
And Hardee's has the mushroom Swiss burger.
That is true, and that's one of my favorites. My first job working at Hardee's might have just been to get free mushroom and Swiss burgers.
Yes,
I love that
at Hardee's as a teenager as well.
Yes, see?
I still maintain the mushroom and Swiss burger from Hardee's is the best fast food hamburger in the world.
I do love it. It used to weird me out, that bag of mushroom sauce stuff. It did kind of weird me out, but I still loved it.
Absolutely. Even once you see how the sausage is made, it's absolutely fantastic. How was your comic week, Jim? Was there anything good that stood out? Because we tried to record Best of the Week. There wasn't much to talk about.
No, this week sucked. It sucked. It really sucked. I mean, overall, even whatever you want to even pick, everything sucked, I thought. Gabe didn't, but that's Gabe. So there you go. When Gabe's given things 8.5s, you know it must really suck.
I made Doc read Spider-Man #7. It's gonna be up on Monday. The Dan Slott one.
That's rough.
It was rough.
It's bad when you sit there and you try to pick which is the worst Spider-Man comic that came out, and they're really a dead heat until like photo finish.
Amazing Spider-Man or Spider-Man. Yeah, they were both terrible.
Yeah, they both sucked. Yeah. But we're here.
Happy Easter, Jim. We are on the Easter weekend.
Yes, we are. I never even know these things until afterwards when my kids are bitching where's my candy? And I'm like,
your kids are in their 20s.
You're 20 years old. You don't need candy. You know, get out of town. Get out of the house.
I'm not hiding eggs for you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. They want to go to the egg hunt and start beating up the other kids. I'm like, holy moly.
Jesus. They should owe you candy at this point. You got them through life.
They should owe me rent. Is what they should owe me, not candy.
Oh, you got all of them. You got 5 boys living in your house.
No, we have 3 of the 5,
expensive.
And they're very old. So
my oldest is 6 years old, and he's already eating me out of house and home. I couldn't imagine.
Well, my kids, they like to throw away silverware and plates as well. So just imagine you're paying for the meal, but you're also paying for the plates and silverware that disappear. I don't know where they go.
My wife would break a plate over a kid's head for that.
There's no plates to break over. They've thrown them all away. So
stem with a fork. All right, well, that sounds good, Jim.
Yes.
We've also got Gray from out here in Asia as well, another expat. How you doing, Gray?
I'm doing good. Well, it's great to be here again. Thanks so much for having me back on, and good to see Jim, Josh, Doc, and Yule as well.
How is Wakizashi's tea house going? You got any of these special videos people should know about?
Had a good week, actually. I was off. It was spring break, where I was off school, off work, so I managed to get a few more videos done. Reviewed some classic comics like Amazing Spider-Man, the latest one. Wow, that was a beauty.
#7. Beautiful.
Yeah. Not the Dan Slott one. Is it 133? I've lost count. You know what? I've lost count and I've given up. I don't even care anymore.
The Zeb Wells one.
Oh, God. What's going on?
Nothing happens in that book.
No, it was a fast read.
Which is somehow better than the Dan Slott one.
Yeah. What else was good? Not so much good, but the Tim Drake Robin. It took Jim's review to make me actually go and read that, and I couldn't believe it.
You couldn't believe it, could you? Someone tried to tell me that fire wasn't real, Jim.
I argued with them in your comments on your video. Oh, it was dead real, and it was awfully real, I'd say. Yeah, and the thing is, they were arguing about that fire, and if you think in your head the fire wasn't real, it actually makes the issue worse. That's the worst part of it. That was just bad in all angles.
Yeah, that was a rough comic book. So glad to have Gray. We got Jim. We've also got Yule Carter representing the comic book retailers. How you doing, Yule?
Wonderful. Thanks for having me on.
How's everything going in Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California?
Actually quite well. And regardless of how horrible Spider-Man #7 is, sold out.
Absolutely, because everyone's freaked out about Spider-Boy, even though Miles Morales already exists.
Sure thing. I ordered extra even. I took Dan Slott's advice and I bought extras. And I sold out of them, so I'm really happy.
I feel bad for the customers, but good for you.
Well, they wanted it. I can't. Look, come on, man.
They're not going to read it anyway.
I'm only working at Arby's. What can I do? Right?
I'd sell some Spider-Man comic books for some Arby's money. You know what I mean? You mean if I sell 4 of these, I can get the Big Montana?
I don't even know. I was just trying to play along with everybody else.
The Big Montana is the biggest roast beef sandwich you can get. It's like at least 2 pounds of roast beef on a bun with cheese.
Wow, that sounds like a lot. A lot more than I would eat. Yeah, now at least.
What are you talking about?
I don't.
You don't get the munchies?
I'm counting my calories this year.
Oh my goodness, he's eating
I'm eating bird seed all day long is what I'm doing. Seed. Here, let me show my finger really quick to everybody.
What happened?
I had
bird got you, huh?
The bird got me, exactly. It's my flip-off finger, obviously. And I've had this little thing keep on reoccurring, so I had some surgery this week. I was awake for it too. I hadn't had something like that happen before.
Said it, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild watching your body part getting worked on.
It's like when they remember your wisdom teeth and they start cracking the thing and you can feel it.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. That you're awake for obviously your dentistry stuff, hopefully. But it's just so different when you can actually see something going on.
So when I was 9 years old, I fell out of a treehouse, and on the way down, I actually caught this arm on one of the little footrests that you're supposed to use. It actually ripped my entire arm open. And then it flapped over, and I could see all the muscle and veins and fat tissue. It was quite amazing, and I went into a bit of shock.
I would too.
So my grandpa finds me, and he's like, "God damn it, Wes!" So he takes me to the hospital because my parents aren't around. And when my parents show up, the nurse tells my mom, because she's worked with them in the past. The nurse is like, "You probably don't want to go in there, Tracy. This isn't something that I think you're going to want to see." My mom's like, "I've been a nurse before. I've seen everything. I could do this." So they go in there, and within 2 minutes, my mom passes out on the floor from seeing the inside of my arm. And my dad's like, "God damn it, Tracy." He's trying to get her out. And he comes back in, and 2 minutes later, he passes out on the floor. That thing was rough. They had to put me down for that one, obviously, to get it all stitched up. And then I didn't realize this. They stuck a tube in my arm. So I would show up there every week and they would drain it. But the lady would have me read this board. She's like, "Okay, you got to read all the lines to make sure your arm's okay." And I was a kid, so I didn't know any better. And I guess when that was happening, she was draining all this fluid out of my arm in front of my mom. I don't know. I guess it was pretty gross. I took it like a man, you know what I mean? I got a cool scar. Looks like I ripped my arm off once.
Nice. I mean, to a degree, you did. So,
I also compound fractured that arm, so I've been trying to get rid of it for years.
So I will say sorry when something happens.
Right or left, Wes? Right or left?
Left.
Okay, you're all right then.
But I'm from the country, so we were always in the hospital, basically, at least twice a year, getting stitches or something set. Man, who else we got? Josh, you're from the country, right?
Yeah.
And you're a Batman fan?
Yeah. I thought you were going to ask more about you're from the country. That's why I stopped.
No,
I've had my fair share of injuries, falling out of trees. I sliced my hand open, almost going down to my wrist, jumping over a fence once. I've stabbed myself in the hand with a mirror. We'll get into that. when you're younger.
I grabbed a hot iron once. Apparently, that was a bad idea. I got some severe hurts.
Touching hot things. I mean, look, in the South, I don't know how it is everywhere else. I think it's just also
Texas isn't the South.
generation.
Texas is Texas.
Texas is Texas. The South doesn't even claim us because they're like, look, you do stupid shit from time to time. You're cool, but we're just gonna semi-claim you. Yeah, like you don't even get told, hey, that's hot. Just like you touch it, you find out it's hot, and then your parents are like, bet you're not gonna do that again now, are you? And then you just leave it at that. But no, I'm good, man. It's Easter weekend. I'm super happy to be here, and I'm just letting you know now. Every answer that I'm gonna give today is Jesus Christ. Who's your biggest hero? Jesus Christ. What are you most excited about? Jesus Christ, because I can't stand these fucking terrible books. There we go.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
on a roll
sounds about
already.
right.
How's the new job coming?
New job, great,
yet?
man. Yeah, no, it's wonderful so far. I know I'm still in the honeymoon phase, but my schedule is fantastic. I'll just say that.
Man, you got the weekends off. You can have a dating life again.
I know. I don't know about that.
No,
We
you're
shall
out the
see.
game. You're
I'm not saying
retired?
I'm out of the game. I'm just saying.
Off the market.
I mean,
What?
look, I will just say I went to the grocery store and I wasn't happy with the selection. So we'll see.
The melons were bruised.
The melons were bruised.
But at least we got a good Batman comic book this week. One of the few things we could talk about that's going to be positive was Batman, Joker, Deadly Joe. You probably didn't read it yet because you don't read comic books anymore.
I have not read it yet. I did buy it though. My comic shop, their shipments came in late. So as of Thursday, they had just gotten their DC stuff from Lunar. They didn't have Marvel, and they didn't have anything from Diamond, any of the independent stuff. So
Why is that?
I have no idea.
It's
I don't know if
fucking
there's
Diamond. It's what they
Yeah,
do.
well, Lunar is Lunar also, but I mean, usually I get that stuff the week before, and that's out here.
no clue.
And only Diamond I have to wait for usually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man. So, Josh, who's better than Spider-Man?
Who's better than Batman?
Jesus
No,
Christ.
you're supposed to say
Jesus.
Jesus
Come on,
Christ.
Josh.
Oh shit!
Wow,
And
you
then
couldn't
it's
own the
damn it.
gimmick.
It's Spider-Man, it's Batman, and then it's Jesus Christ. See, this
Jesus
is why
Christ, the given.
That's
right.
right. You're
You
right.
cannot rely on me to get anything done.
My goodness.
Man, you
I thought
can't even
Jim was
keep your
supposed to be
own
tired.
bit going.
No, I know. That's what's sad.
Oh my goodness. Last but not least, Doc, I've already tormented you today. I had you read Spider-Man #7. We reviewed that. We also talked about the creative teams associated with Fall of X, which we'll get to here in the stream as well. So you're not in a good mood. In fact, you were cursing quite substantially when you were talking about Dan Slott.
Oh, this fat ignoramus. Yeah.
Fat.
Yes. He's a fat ignoramus. That's what I'm going with.
They definitely have to make him special pants. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not
No
only
one makes
that,
pants for a man that size, where he's like 5'3", but he's also 5'3" a wrap.
Why don't
Yeah.
they make a big and short store?
Well, I mean, look, he's so incompetent that the fat started going into his brain now, and causing him to become even more retarded than he already was.
Hey, come on, man! He finally unblocked me.
Friends
And
again.
Slot.
See, this is the kind of stuff you're going to experience on Monday. He did lose his mind a little bit.
Yeah, this is everything that is bad about Dan Slott was on center stage for Spider-Man #7. I'm glad I haven't read any of the other 6 issues before this, because I probably would have thrown myself into a wood chipper after issues 1 through 6.
You know, I read the first one, and then the second one was horrible, and I did not. I mean, I didn't like the first one that much, but oof, bad.
Yeah,
Bad stuff.
The good news is, Doc, you are the world's biggest Mark Silvestri mark, and we are getting a great Mark Silvestri comic book this week. Written and illustrated.
Oh, more Deadly Duo.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, you guys can enjoy it. It's still not enough to get me to leave my house and go to the comic shop.
Wow.
And
Isn't there a sandwich place next to your comic shop? Go for the sandwiches and go get
No.
the comics.
No, in fact, there's a Lowe's right next to it, and I went to
There you go. You
Lowe's.
got to go to Lowe's. You're a homeowner.
I went to Lowe's yesterday and didn't even feel like going over.
Damn.
Yeah. Had to go buy plumbing supplies, and didn't feel like going over to the comic
Doc's
shop.
going to
I'm like,
only
"Yeah."
have like price variant comics left to buy, and that's going to be it. Oh, I'll get like a British
Maybe-
Marvel comics.
Yeah,
or something.
maybe I'll go and start redoing my X-Men complete series with Pence variants.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Or you'll be like, oh, I guess I'll get those Mexican Spider-Mans after all.
Yeah.
Complete the
I mean,
collection.
Well, I've already started moving into my ASM 250 through 900.
Nice.
And it ends at 900 as far as I'm concerned.
All right. So,
and-
Doc, you read Spider-Man #7 and broke your toilet.
No, I had broken the toilet before I read Spider-Man
Oh.
7.
Well, there you go. What's better, Jersey Mike's or Jimmy John's? We got a debate going on in the comments.
Jimmy
section.
John's.
Absolutely, I agree with you because the bread's better.
Yeah, the bread is significantly better,
It's like not even close.
and not everything is fucking toasted at Jimmy John's. I hate toasted subs.
Not
You can get
everything's toasted
non-toasted
at
subs
Jersey
at
Mike's
Jersey
either.
Mike's.
Jersey Mike's
Yeah.
I'm Jersey Mike's.
Or
all the way.
that's what I mean.
Jersey Mike's are bigger. I'll give them
what
that.
she
You can get
said.
like the 18-inch sub or whatever, but I like the bread at Jimmy John's much better, and they have good dressings on there. Variety.
You talk about pajamas.
Jimmy John's,
Yes.
it's a sandwich joint.
That's Jimmy Jams. Jim Jams.
I'm jealous of all the sandwich choices you've got over there, guys. I really am.
We have no sandwiches here either. When I lived in Korea, I saw a lady. She was Korean, obviously. She went to Subway and she ate the Subway sandwich with chopsticks, like it was a
Really?
salad.
Oh my god.
They
How-
don't get sandwiches
Seinfeld-
here. It just-
How
It's a
does
violation.
It
that
was.
work?
Yeah,
I'm just
it
trying to think of the
sounds difficult.
mechanics here.
Well, I mean,
I-
you just use your chopsticks to eat the lettuce, and then you eat
Stop.
a piece of meat, and
No.
next thing you know, you just have the
Did
bread.
she
left.
think the bread was like a plate or something like that?
No, it's not a sandwich culture. They don't even understand the idea, the concept. They don't really do bread.
This is
Same.
the vessel that you eat this in, right here.
Yeah,
You don't need
they
these
don't get the
sticks.
handheld concept.
Also, if I really want a sandwich, I'm just going to Permane Brothers instead. So, fuck Jersey Mike's.
You can't
and-
eat a Permane Brothers with your hands because they dip it in grease.
You can eat a Permane's with your hands.
Fries
That's how you
everywhere.
Eat it. That's how
That
you
is-
eat it.
And
it's
I'm from the
dunked.
Philadelphia area,
was-
not.
It
I
was
love Permane
designed.
Brothers.
It was designed for steel workers back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, where they only had a short period of time for lunch, and instead of
I
getting
got you.
the
Same
fries
thing
and the
as a po' boy,
coleslaw,
but it's in Pittsburgh.
yeah, so they shoved the fries and the coleslaw onto
it
the
in.
sandwich, so that you could just walk it back. So you didn't get the thing.
But they also dunk it in grease.
No, they don't.
That's a different sandwich place.
It must be because I have never. There's not even any dipping sauces for your sandwich. at
There's a
any
place that they dunk the whole sandwich in like au jus or something.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's.
yeah.
I think that's Arby's. They have that on
no,
roast
this
beef
is a real
sandwich.
sandwich place
There's-
that I saw on Food Network, man.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
place
yeah,
called
yeah.
Felipe's in Los Angeles, and it's supposedly the original French dip.
Okay, yeah,
they-
that.
Submerge your sandwich, like the entire thing is soaked.
Yeah, no, we don't.
What are we talking about?
do
We're talking
any of
about
that shit.
sandwiches, Callum.
Nah.
What are you talking about? We're sandwich people. My goodness. We do have a few super chats we'll get to real quick before we get started. Callum says, I heard some escaped hippo was with Jack Black. I'm assuming that has to do with the Mandalorian
Oh no!
cameo. I'm just assuming. Miss Maria says, attack Disney in the wallet. Sell your stock. Doc, you already sold your stock, correct?
Yeah, I got out of Disney like 3 years ago.
Well, you can't attack them in the wallet then, Doc.
Yeah, I can't. There's nothing for me to do. I saw where they were going 3-4 years ago, and I just said, I'm out. And I managed to sell at a high, so I made money, and then I haven't tracked it at all since then.
There you go. Chris says, happy Easter Passover aficionados. ASM made me hate comics. For me, Low and Wells are Spidey's Kathleen Kennedy. Hope kids are magic. Stop abusing MJ. Yeah. Does it make you hate comic books there, Gray? Is ASM that bad?
No, because I'm pretty positive, whereas, as you know, not quite as positive as Sully, but I'm getting there. But yeah, I've got really bored with this run. It's just been stretched out too much where the people have just lost interest.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
I'm not surprised that you're not enjoying it, but I do hope you're having a wonderful Easter weekend and Passover. And we're gonna have some fun here today. We're gonna talk about Star Wars soon. What's up, Doc?
We can wait because they're going to kill MJ.
Well, it's got to
Yeah.
be if they're saying it's the biggest shock in 50 years since they killed Gwen.
Well,
yeah.
there was because they already
I'll
released
be
one.
shocked if she stays dead.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's
The
unlikely.
most
that
not
she stays-
shocking thing to ever happen.
But here, they already announced. I think it's coming July or.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
July.
it comes out in July 2023. It's a one shot called Fallen Friend #1, and it's
Friend
a black.
zone. Fallen friend zone.
Yep, since he friend zoned MJ, and or it could be Fallen Sister. And
No.
if
No,
all-
because he has a sister. Stop it.
yeah, it'll kill the
All
real
right,
sister.
all right.
And they've already they built us up that we were going to get the marriage back, and then Nick Spencer left, and then they immediately married her off to Sean King, and suddenly she has kids. Now they gave her superpowers.
All right, all right, yeah.
And the only thing left is to kill her so Nick Lowe can finally just go, ha 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 ha, fuck you people. You can't even have them together anymore. There's no chance because she's dead.
Absolutely. It's the only humane thing to do to the character. Caleb says trans kids flag in Spider-Verse 2. I saw that there's something about that. Whatever. I'm going to go still probably see the Spider-Verse movie because I'm going to be on vacation. And my kid liked the first one. We got to go see a movie. We can't see Super Mario Brothers because it already came out already. My goodness.
Does
He
your
was
kid love
pissed, too.
Miles Morales?
My kid fucking loves Super Mario. He
Oh.
all right with Miles Morales, Spider-Man. He just liked the movie.
Why is it out in the Philippines yet? Because Japan's got to wait till the end of the month. Japan, Nintendo.
Jabronis.
It's not even
we already
out.
got it. Losers. But my kid is obsessed with Super Mario and Sonic. Federico de la Casa. I bought a collected edition of Echolands by J.H. Williams III, the most beautiful comic in a long time. Echolands is
Absolutely,
very
yeah.
interesting. It's got a
Couldn't
different
read it.
dimension to it, right?
Yeah,
It's like landscaped.
correct.
Yeah, if you guys haven't
Oh.
seen that one, that's pretty brilliant. Glad you got that one. That's a good comic book.
Anything the third does is usually looking very good.
Absolutely.
Great artist, yeah.
Yeah. Your story might just be okay, but the
Yeah.
art's going to be freaking fantastic.
Oh
There
yeah,
you go.
it brings the art's a 12 easy.
Yeah.
You know.
Mr. Greenbones, Brendan Fraser is the GOAT. Dan Slott is the whale. Oh,
Yes.
people like Brendan Fraser again, huh?
They do. Yeah, he's no Keanu Reeves. though.
Everybody, no one ever stopped liking Brendan
Yeah.
Fraser. The thing was, he just didn't work for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stopped making mummy movies?
Well, he
Yeah.
kind of got
Rock
blacklisted by
got it.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think
it's-
that Josh's favorite Brendan Fraser movie is the one where he's in the bunker and he has to come out and marry Alicia Silverstone or whoever that
Encino
was.
Man. Yeah.
No, not Encino Man. That's with Pauly Shore. The one where he's in the
Biodome?
bunker with his dad. It's
Oh,
know
Blast
what
from
you're
the Past.
Blast from the Past. There's no
My
way that
girlfriend
Josh
fucked-
doesn't love that movie.
My girlfriend loves that movie.
Exactly.
I remember watching that with my brothers, but I don't really remember the movie. So
Hey, you should check it out. I think you'd like it. Lade Craver says, "Hey, panel and chat. Parents are visiting from
out of state.
out of state this weekend, so I can't hang around. Have a good stream. Doc, the countdown to Steelworks #1 has begun. Well, I hope
have
you're
no
enjoying
idea.
your time with your parents and having a great Easter weekend. We're going to miss you, and you can always come back for the replay. We're going to have fun.
What the fuck is Steelworks?
It's the one
Steelworks,
from
man.
it's John Irons.
John Irons
Yeah.
and Natasha.
Oh,
Yeah. His-
oh, that
Down?
sounds terrible.
Who's writing it?
doesn't
Oh, and
sound as
Worf is
bad as-
writing it, right?
Worf's.
Yeah, Worf.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael.
Oh
Worf.
yeah, that one's gonna be fucking awful.
It'll probably be
I
pretty
lo-
good.
I love how Lane Kramer's become like the ghost of Wednesday's past with Doc. Like every week he's
Wednesday's future.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wednesday, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Ghost of
Tormenting
Wednesday's
you.
future. I can't wait for you to read this shitty book, Doc.
You're like, the lady in the phone, like, I'm upstairs or whatever. Just, oh my God, the kids. Scaring the crap out of Doc with bad comic books. So hope you're having a great time. Enjoy the family. Let's get to the show. We do have new Star Wars movies coming out. A lot of people aren't very happy. Obviously, the big thing is we are getting a new Rey, whatever her name is. Is it Palpatine? Is it Skywalker? It's something like that. She's getting her solo film. We're also going to get a team up with the Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, as well as a biblical epic, because we've never had those in Star Wars ever, from Nick Mangold. Jim, I know you are a big Star Wars aficionado. You're a big Star Wars fan like myself. Just looking at these three projects, I don't think two of them will ever make it to the movie theater.
Nope.
If they make the Ahsoka film, that will be on Disney Plus, and there's no way that this Rey movie even gets made, probably.
No, I agree. And when I see announcements, I already go in. I'm already shaking my head, unfortunately. And with that, I can't even go with Joss. I can't even say that I like Jesus Christ with this, because I'm cursing more than even just that. But when I looked at it, they just, every time I see an announcement, it always makes me angry. It makes me want to watch the movies less than what an announcement should make me want to watch them more, because I don't know why they keep saying in these announcements, I understand what Star Wars is all about, and then everything that they say after that is complete bullcrap. Like, they think that Star Wars is about, just oppression, or they think Star Wars is about, I thought Star Wars was about fun and adventure, and none of these really point to that for me. And like you said, though, the Filoni one, that seems like it's Disney Plus. That there's no way that's going to be a big movie theater movie. They may say that at first, but I don't think that. But the other stuff, it just doesn't seem interesting at all to me. And I'm a Star Wars fan. I actually love the character of Rey. I just don't like anything that has been done with Rey. And they kind of messed it up and all that. But I'm willing to give something a try if it doesn't get me angry. And this gets me angry. I read that and just my blood pressure went up. It's not good for me. That's
that means
actually
you
maybe
still care at least. Most people have checked out.
Well, that's the thing. It's almost like we were talking about Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man. Zeb Wells, you sit there and that sucks, but look, it's the best-selling comic. People want to love these things, and they'll always keep coming back. Eventually, though, that has to stop, but this seems it seems odd. It just doesn't seem like something that they've ever read the room or really are realistic about things, and that sucks.
Are you interested to see Nick Mangold introduce where the Force came from and the first Force user?
No. That's the thing. Like, again, Nick Mangold, when you look at his track record, and it's very impressive, a lot of things, but when he says this is going to be like the 10 Commandments and a biblical epic, that's when you could yell Jesus Christ, because then I'm like, why? Like, I just want them to say we want to get back to having some fun and having a good movie that people want to go see with their kids and things like that. And everybody wants to make things fancier, and it doesn't work for me. Maybe some people are impressed by it, but I just thought it was nothing. It just got me angry.
Gray, you're an older gentleman like myself. You probably grew up with the Star Wars. Are you ready to fully invest back into Star Wars if they can make these three movies?
No, like many people, whereas I'm out, and maybe partly because I'm old, I don't know, but it just doesn't feel like Star Wars, and it hasn't for a long time. Yeah, man, I remember the good old days of 77 and 80 was it 80 for Empire, 83
81,
for
I think.
Jedi. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. The space fantasy is missing, the kind of pulp, adventure, the what was it, like the Buck Rogers style that George Lucas was inspired by.
I think they think that Star Wars is laser guns and spaceships. So as long as you have good spaceships that look like Star Wars, and you have laser fights and obviously lightsabers, then you have a Star Wars movie. And it's like, no, I mean that's the cherry on top. You have to have the character-driven story first.
That's it, exactly. The effects, it looks great. Yeah, the new ones look gorgeous, but there's lacking in content. There's no, like, soul or heart in them.
Doc, do you think that I should have Aaron Sparrow watch the the Mandalorian episode with Jack Black and Lizzo? I'm thinking about it.
Yes. You know what? No, I'm not putting.
Do it.
See, I am not
Do it.
as much of a sadist to put it on other people.
You wouldn't wish that on Aaron Sparrow?
I wouldn't. I like Aaron too much. I wouldn't put it on him. I feel like this is something that like Jimmy should have to watch.
Jimmy would like it though.
Yeah, you're right. So we could hear somebody like filleting bad TV. I mean, we already get enough of that from, well, the entire media. Aaron, do you want to volunteer? Do you volunteer as tribute on this one? Because I feel like that's
I ain't doing it.
I feel like you might be falling on the sword for everybody else if you go for that one.
He'll probably do it. Aaron's a good guy. He's in the comments section. If you want Aaron and myself to review the Jack Black Lizzo episode of Mandalorian, which I have heard is atrocious, definitely, ag him on a little bit. See if you can sign on for that one. Just, I don't know. There has to be something good to come out of Star Wars sometime soon, Josh.
First, I'm going to say I saw like 20 seconds of that clip on Twitter with Jack Black and Lizzo, and I legitimately thought it was pulled from a sketch for like SNL or something.
Me too.
And I'm not joking. And then like later that day, I watched the entire video and I was like, oh shit, this is real. It's
kind of like when you see the MODOK from Ant-Man.
Oh my! Yeah,
You're like, they're just yanking my chain. There's no way that actually happened.
Yeah,
like,
nope. That's definitely what it was.
There's I thought the same thing with the hopping around Grogu Baby Yoda thing in the previous episode, where it was doing like the just up and I'm like, did they just literally like put a puppet on a string and just flip it in the air? Because that would have been kind of funny. Like, this is seriously like public access television level quality right now.
Yeah, it's not.
Is it any worse than when Yoda did it though?
Yeah, it's much worse than when Yoda did it.
It looks worse, right?
Yeah.
It looks worse. It happens.
I don't really buy that whole Yoda bit either.
I mean, I didn't either. But
he
in
should have
hindsight,
been taller as a young person, maybe.
I want to say I would like Star Wars to do well. I don't have much faith in it. I do have a little bit of faith because I know there's some infighting going on at Disney, and I'm hoping that kind of happens and gets resolved soon, and they don't try to pull we'll let Kennedy finish her contract. But I do think that James Mangold coming in is a step in the right direction. So I want to be hopeful and optimistic in that respect. The guy delivers solid films, and he's taken projects from utter complete piles of shit and then elevated them back up. So I'm hopeful. I feel like Dave Filoni is also relatively reliable. I don't know about him directing a film, but we'll see.
What happened to Jon Favreau? What's he doing right now? It's like
See,
he did good Star Wars and good Marvel stuff, right? He wasn't just happy, right?
My understanding is he's still involved in this season of The Mandalorian, and well, we see exactly how bad it has been. I mean, every week it's literally the laughing stock of the internet.
I mean, he can't do it. Well, I mean, I don't watch it, so no anti on that at all. It's just I don't give a shit about Star Wars for a long time now, and but I mean, by all accounts, the first season everybody liked it, and wasn't Favreau more involved in that?
He was quite involved in season 1 and most of season 2. And my understanding is he's still just as involved. Him and Filoni are just as involved in season 3. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I didn't hear anything about them stepping back and like letting someone else really run the show and them just being the showrunners.
So he's the showrunner. Favreau's the showrunner. I don't know if he's doing some writing credits and directing like he had done previously, which I mean can make a world of difference, Yeah,
well, certainly it can, but he's still involved in the day-to-days. and the direction of the show. He has to have something to do with casting. And seriously, fucking Lizzo and Jack Black. This season is honestly, it is the laughingstock of the internet every single week. How can you consider that a successful show at this point? You can't.
No.
So they had comedians in the first 2 seasons, right? It wasn't that the thing that they were
You had-
putting odd people that wouldn't normally be in and stuff like that?
You had Bill Burr.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I didn't watch it, so I don't know. I'm just, it's not. I mean, it's a laughingstock amongst people I know on the internet,
Here's the thing.
but I don't know about the other people.
When Bill Burr was in his couple episodes, he didn't act like Bill Burr, the comedian. This was Jack Black and Lizzo looking like and acting like their fucking celebrity personalities.
Until Jack Black, he's never done a Robin Williams serious or a Jim Carrey serious role yet, has he?
No.
I will never buy him as a not joke character. You know what I mean?
I like
he can
Jack
star
Black
in a movie, but he will always be.
He's always Jack Black. That's the problem.
Yeah,
When
that's
he shows up,
And
he's Jack Black.
Truthfully, regardless of what you
talk.
think about Lizzo, she's just Lizzo. I don't care what character you're playing. That is who you are. And it's bad casting, really, for those two
Lizzo just
people.
being Lizzo.
You were.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Fat Girl twerking the entire time.
Oh,
Man, I don't understand. I thought She-Hulk
dare
really
you.
set the precedent, man. I was like thinking that would be the way to go for sure on a Star Wars epic.
I mean, Jack Black kind of tried doing something semi-serious when he was in Kong.
That was a failure.
The King Kong with Sam Jackson and
Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson said, "I can do anything."
yeah, I mean, he was serious in that, but he also didn't have dumb Jack Black face.
No, I just mean like
he has that
other role.
He has that
complete opposite
expression.
of who he is.
Yeah.
What's the rollerblade movie that Jack Black was in? That's the first movie I ever saw him in.
The what? Which movie?
The rollerblading movie.
Oh,
Starlight Express.
No, it's like just a crappy '80s movie with Jack Black before he was.
I don't know that one, but I mean, of course,
Airborne.
Cable Guy.
There you go, Airborne. That is it. That's such
I
a
remember
good
him
movie.
in the Pitfall commercial. That's all I am. But yeah, he's always Jack Black though.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, I'm not really against. I mean, it's just when I see him on screen, it's Jack Black.
Agreed.
nobody
Lizzo.
can take him. Nobody can take either of these people as serious roles. Like Bill Burr isn't. He didn't act like himself. Because Bill Burr, even his comedic bits,
He was in Breaking Bad. He can do some
he's
stuff.
got some serious
he's
stuff.
got serious to him. Even his comedy, like his stand-up, he has moments where it's like deadpan, and then he'll hit a joke. This was his deadpan without the joke at the end, and that's what I expected. Whereas Jack Black doesn't even fucking know how to do that.
Because Jack Black's just the comedic actor. I think there is a difference when somebody is a stand-up comedian. You have that kind of different deal going on there as well. But
Although
you just
stand-up
can act.
comedians might not be able to act at all.
No,
That's
yeah.
often what will happen there.
Yeah.
How was he in Mario as Bowser? Was he any good?
I haven't got to see it yet.
Okay.
He just
Oh, it
put
was
the
this
dagger
one
into
he's
him.
in?
There's no
I see.
movie theater in my town. If I want to go to a movie, I have to drive 4.5 hours or take a plane to get to a city with theater.
Well, what's the problem?
It's like me trying to find a comic shop.
I live in the sticks, man.
You don't like your kid. You won't take a plane to go see Super Mario? How did I mean seriously?
we tried. We were
Yeah.
working how we could get out of here this weekend to go see Super Mario, which just wasn't feasible because we got 3 kids.
The trailer with Jack Black with Bowser, I thought sounded great. I thought he was doing it great. I didn't recognize him as just full out Jack Black until you really know and listen. But,
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that the thing in
when
the
he gets
trailer
his
was-
arm shot off by the jackal, I was kind of like, the jackal did the right thing.
that gave you flashbacks though when you were a kid.
He's supposed to be the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
So, there you go.
I think Doc's point's right though about the Jack Black's face. I think that's the thing he can't He
It
can't
is true.
face act. He can't transform his face.
Yeah.
The weird face he does is when he plays guitar, he does it too. It's that Jack Black face, that the eyes open and like looking at you. It is the Jack Black thing.
The closest thing that I've seen him do to serious was the movie Bernie, where he plays a guy that killed an old lady. But even then, he's still very Jack Black, and it's meant to be somewhat comedic.
I want to like the most dour thing possible. You put him in that role, it's going to be funny.
He's in Schindler's
I'm gonna
List,
laugh.
and you're
I'm gonna
laughing,
be like,
right?
Yeah.
You know?
But
Yeah.
also, I will say from a Star Wars standpoint, I don't know why you put both of these both these people together in the same scene. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think if you had them in separate episodes and separate scenes, it wouldn't be a conversation. But if you see
Jack
these two
Black
people
one-
I don't
standing
think people
together,
were even talking about it.
oh,
cares?
it was all over Twitter. Like,
Oh yeah.
Was it?
but seeing them there together with the bad CGI background, you just immediately think,
Yeah.
what is this? This isn't real, right? Like, this is a
Oh yeah,
It's
stands
just-
out.
It
Stands
looks
out.
like something from like a little the low budget intro things that they do at the Academy Awards.
Yeah. Aaron Sparrow said it's like the MTV Awards.
Yeah,
It
okay,
really is, right?
yeah.
That's
It's
what Aaron
exactly
said.
Right. Where they
That's
would like
100% it.
Yep.
where you would have filmed something with like two actors that don't fit in there, pretending like they're part of it, and then you're like, oh god, this is fucking cringy.
It's funny because Aaron said that, and all I remembered, if you remember what Jack Black and Buffy, Sarah Michelle Gellar, did a Lord of the Rings parody when they were hosting
When he had the
one
cock
year.
ring.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I thought of when I saw it. So when he said that, I'm like, it's dead on.
Yeah.
So, Jim, you said something interesting earlier.
Really?
I don't think I can agree with you. You
Oh,
said,
God.
I think
Oh, here
Rey's
we
a
go.
good character.
I like
What the hell
the
did you
idea.
mean by that?
I just like the idea of how she set up. The thing is, I think Finn is a good character idea, but they never did anything with her. Once they get to, Rise of Skywalker, it's all done. But I like the idea of a character that doesn't know who her parents are. She's trying to figure out her way. She has this deal. I think that that's a
That
good
can fly a
setup.
starship, no problem, can fix it with her eyes, blindfolded.
See, that's the woman
can
I
take
want in
down
my
Darth
life.
Vader
I
and
need
then-
somebody there to help it. But that's the thing. They took a good concept and made it just whatever you would call it. But
Can
it
you
ends up
imagine if
where
Luke
everything's
defeated
fine.
Darth Vader in single combat the first time and didn't lose his arm.
Then the galaxy would have been a better place. It would
no,
have been
the
a
story would have sucked. You're like,
I
oh,
know.
guess-
Well, that's the thing. I think in the movies and the comics themselves, that's the problem. The concepts come, but nobody can do anything wrong. This happens in the comics every week that I end up reading and reviewing as well. And everybody loves each other. Nobody has a problem with anybody, and that is the problem. But that's the
you had
overall
a problem
problem.
with Finn. Remember, she's like, "Stop holding my hand while you're trying to save me."
Yeah, exactly. Well, because
saving
she's a
you.
strong deal. But Finn, the idea of a stormtrooper and redemption, that is a really cool idea. They just blew it. They
Yeah,
keep
much
blowing the
better
ideas.
potential.
They don't want to give you the gray, dark area that they don't realize. And that's the thing I said about the idea of, this is what Star Wars is about. But Star Wars was a lived-in universe with, while we're doing a fantastical deal, it still was realistic relationships. No, everybody didn't love each other right away. Oh, you're the greatest. And that's what I think ended up happening throughout those movies, especially with Rey. But I like the idea of a character that is trying to find herself, may end up having, this idea of, I want to be better.
might
I want to
be
be
Palpatine,
bigger.
but she
That I
can
might
rename
be.
herself
But
a
that's the thing.
Skywalker
It's
because
one
she's
of
so
those
perfect.
things. People growing up, and if you end up, you don't know your mom and dad, or you have awful parents like I did, you always want to dream that you're, I was a prince, or my deal is a king, and that's a cool concept. But at the end, it usually isn't true. It's, you know what I mean? It's like when you go to get your future or past read, and they're like, you were a prince in Egypt. Nobody ever says you were a shit dealer in the
paid for
Middle
that?
Ages, right? I wouldn't.
You
My
went to
mom
a
did
tarot
this
card
shit.
reader?
No, my mom did, and she's like, she told me I was the queen of England. I'm like, you're not even the queen of this house, bitch. Get out of here. And so with all this stuff, though, it ends up where the fantasy part is, oh my God, I want to be something bigger. But at the end, you kind of aren't, but you're a hero. I'm telling
When
you,
you went and
I
had
thought
your
the
past
concept
read,
was okay.
what did they say you were? Were you like a?
I'm
Were you a
telling you,
frog or
they're like, you were nothing. They would talk to me, and they're like, you're nothing now. You were nothing. But I thought I was a
You were
prince. They're like,
jabroni back in the past.
there were trillions of people. You really think that you're, fucking Prince Albert.
99.99999% in every life that
Exactly.
they will ever live is just going to be a fucking curtain jerker.
Just nothing, yeah. So, but I like the idea of that kind of build up, and then maybe find out at the end that, hey, listen, you aren't a Palpatine, you're not a Skywalker, you're just a normal person, but because of what you did, you're a hero. You're Jesus Christ, maybe. I don't know.
Oddly
And-
enough,
We have that with Luke.
They were just redoing the movies anyway, so
yeah,
you know,
much.
you go with that. You know,
So
Except
you're
for-
gonna watch the Rey movie, Jim, because you like the character so much.
I love the character.
Even
I
with the
can't-
director being Shamir Obadiah, whatever her name is.
Two
Never
of my
actually
kids
filmed
I
a
named
movie in her
Rey.
life, only made documentaries.
jabroni director.
I looked at the idea, well, you know, Star Wars is all about oppression. I'm like, come on, just because there's an evil empire, go the opposite way. It's more about hope and,
It's about
you know,
hope,
that.
yeah.
It's fun and hope and
Discovering your
adventure.
destiny.
I think that they should sit them all down and go to George Lucas and say, tell these assholes exactly what inspired you. The pulp movies, the Flash Gordons, read some of the mythology books, you know, all that Joseph Campbell. And then at the end, they'll know what it really is about. Everybody wants their spin, and it's always... I'm trying to get away from the idea I said Rey was a good character here.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I'd
help
like
you
to.
out.
It's not that I
This
ever.
guy says Kathleen Kennedy's out of touch. I'm saying Jim is out of touch. He said
Jim, you're
Rey was a
reaching,
good
man.
character.
You're reaching. Come on, man.
I'm just sitting here.
Every,
I was
every,
thinking.
I
every
like
time.
the idea. It's just that they keep blowing it. You know.
We've never seen Jim's face. Jim was burned in a terrible
Yes.
acid accident when he was a kid, I believe. Right, Jim?
Yes, Batman. He pushed me. I fell into this bat. Yeah, that
What
guy.
a
I have.
Smile.
Legitimately, at one point, I will end up showing my face, and then we'll have super chats of everybody paying to get it off. But I have, when you talked about earlier, I have legitimately broke my nose 12 times, and it's there just gives you a little
My
bit.
nose is a little dodgy. It can't be as bad as
Mine's pretty dodgy. Just every time I play hockey, every season, I would break my nose at least once.
It's a rite of passage.
Yes. Eventually you'll see, and then you could put a face to the asshole who likes Rey.
Yeah, well,
I don't
That's
want. I don't know what
said
your
that.
asshole looks like either, so I don't want to know.
I'll send
Your
you a
asshole looks like
picture.
Ray. Did you say? Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
I like the concept. There's a lot of things though in life you like the idea and it just doesn't pan out. They just fucked around with it.
They're talking about Captain Phasma or whatever in the comments, and it's
Yeah.
like, didn't that person just like fall? Or I think they were trying to do like
He
a
got thrown
Boba
in a
Fett or something,
dumpster
right?
or something and crushed.
It was stupid, and like everybody was expecting something, and then they just.
Yeah,
No,
because they
she-
put
she
the
got-
Gwendolyn Christie in there, like
She
the lady
got-
from
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
She got knocked down into a fiery pit. That was it.
Yeah.
That
They
that's,
tried to Boba Fett her, but in
Yeah.
every way, obviously. I mean, she's
except for
she's
she
so
never had a
big
cl-
and shouldn't be in armor and is under. You know, it's like the casting. All right, well, you're casting this person, you're going to put a fucking helmet on him.
Well, not
Yeah.
only that. See, I'm fine with that.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's silly.
but
Anybody can do
well,
that.
the thing is, they tried to Boba Fett her, except for the fact they never gave her cool moments ahead of time.
You have a
To-
jetpack. What are you going to do?
Wait,
yeah,
did
you
Boba
never
Fett
j-
have cool moments? Maybe when he stood up
He
to
did
Vader that
when
second.
when he captured Luke or Han in the first place.
Also,
like-
when Darth Vader says to him, "No disintegration," I'm tired of
Yeah.
you disintegrating people for me. He's kind of a badass.
Yeah.
He's the one bounty hunter Darth Vader had to talk to specifically.
Yes. So it gave him gravitas. That
And yet George Lucas made all those other action figures.
here's
You know,
but here's the thing. Star Wars makes the same mistake that a lot of pop culture does when they're introducing new characters, which is to somehow tie them to old characters, thinking it makes the universe bigger. In fact, it makes it smaller.
Yep.
It makes the universe feel like, oh, well, I guess if you're not part of this one lineage or connected to this one story back then, you're never going to fucking matter, because guess what? You never will matter.
Yeah. And in Star
I
Wars,
assumed
it
that she
seemed
was
like a
Obi-Wan's
fate thing.
granddaughter.
That's what I thought too. And in Star Wars, there's always those connections. Like, okay, it was the Force, it's fate, but it got too much. And then you're like, no, it's just silly now.
Metachlorians.
Okay.
Every time you
Starts going downhill.
every time you further explain the Force, you make it dumber.
Let's cool.
Whenever it was just like space magic energy, that was fine. The minute you started deciding that it was some biological thing that allowed you to control it, that's inside your cells.
You know, the
Yeah,
problem
ridiculous.
is
You wanted
people
to
like from MIT like this stuff, and they have to like try and figure it out
Yeah, you know what?
and make it make sense.
Which once again brings up my long-standing principle: we need to shove these fucking nerds in lockers again.
Hey man, we wouldn't have those awesome pillows we have these days without them. You know,
I don't have one
we
of
wouldn't
those
have
pillows.
Dippin' Dots.
No.
Come on now.
Stop telling every girl that comes around, yeah, you're one of us nerds too.
Yes,
You don't have to prove your cred or anything. You're a
shove
nerd.
them in a fucking locker.
Well, you
Yeah,
can't
It
do that.
makes
You go
the
to jail.
world better.
That makes
The
them
thing, like
smarter,
Doc
too.
and you said, Wes, the idea of Ray just being great at everything. That's the other point, that they can't develop
Han
characters
Solo
anymore.
immediately, would you please join my crew?
Man, this happens in all these things. Comics, it happens. I mean, you have Naomi, Brian Michael Bendis, and one day after she appears, she's on the
Superman
Justice
was-
League leading the team.
His mouth was on the floor. He's like,
Exactly.
This character is so
Oh my
amazing.
God.
And Batman's like, I know.
And though they kept saying mega powers and all, it never explained anything. And Naomi's sitting there. It's my first day. She's leading the Justice League. So when that happens, it's always going to feel forced. It's always going to feel like you're trying to one up, you know, in her case, Luke, and anything of that. You know, all those characters that work through a progression. And so, yeah, you end up ruining the character. It's never going to work then.
The only person I know that likes Naomi is Tevye.
Really?
like that guy.
Again, though, the concept could be okay. And then
I was
it
gonna
just
say,
went-
I'll defend that first whatever season 1 book. I thought it was a solid start for a new character, and
art
then they
was
took her
really
to
good.
Justice League, and
I thought it was the first season. The thing that Bendis did, though, is he was stringing you along, like, "Oh, I'll tell you the powers next,
did
you know,
Bendis?
issue."
Yeah.
You didn't, and then you'd have these first moments where he wanted to make everything collectible. It's like, okay, here's her first deal, here's that, and we never really got much.
Doc,
of a
are you
feel.
getting paid for this?
Oh,
No,
my.
somebody's getting paid. I want to know what's going on here.
I do not pay jabronis to come on here and look like fools on my channel.
Hey,
They do it willingly.
I have to interject something here. If I ever find a time machine, do you know what the first thing I'm going to do is? I'm going to go back and kill the person that decided that comic books need seasons.
Yeah, I don't like
Yeah.
that either.
Ed
So
Brubaker.
I don't
You're
care.
dead to me, Ed Brubaker.
I like Ed Brubaker though. We should
Yeah.
just change
Yeah.
our mind.
Don't
It's Ed
care.
Brubaker's fault.
Yeah, they need to be to the deep sleep.
The gallows.
Yeah,
That's okay. We can.
the long goodbye.
I always blame Crumb and Underground Comics for all the new number ones that happen these days. You know, and zero issues too.
Didn't Valiant start out the zero issue where you had to buy all these things and you sent it in and you got the
Image.
zero issue?
Image did
Image
it with
did that
image
also.
with image
If-
number 0.
Probably first, yeah.
Yeah.
Which came out like a year, 3 years later, something like that.
Yeah, I think Valiant did it first with Exo Manowar, right? Zero?
Uh,
Well, see, now, did they do it first, or
got
did
it
they
to market
accomplish it first?
Valiant, I remember this. Valiant got it to market first. Image, you had to buy all these 7 individual issues.
I mean, Jesus,
And there
they
was a
made you buy
coupon.
Shadowhawk, for God's sake.
Yes, and there was a coupon in it that you had to remove, and you had to send all of them in, and then you could get image number 0. The problem was, image number 0 wasn't ready, and it wasn't ready for like 3 years.
Yeah, something like
And then they finally sent it out after the crash had already happened. So nobody got it because one of the books that was supposed to have the thing in it was Wetworks number 1, which was like 4 years late.
Are you talking smack on a wonderful
Willis?
Filipino artist and writer?
No,
No,
I'm
he
saying
had some personal
Willis-
things going on.
Willis had a very ill
Willis.
sister that he was
Yeah.
taking care of. It was perfectly reasonable for that book to not come out, but it's one of the reasons why he wasn't made an Image partner. Why they had to figure out a different book to slap the other coupon in, and why it took. Well, part of
Wetworks
the
is a
reason
good
why it
comic
took.
book.
I like Wetworks.
Great.
But it cost him his Image partnership.
Well, I'm sure he probably doesn't regret taking care of his sister.
Oh, no, definitely not.
There we go. Well, we do have some comments from the peoples. They're chiming in on Star Wars. Nerdy Girl Creates Carrie, stopping in to wish everyone a happy Easter. Well, happy Easter to you too. Carrie is with her mom. They're hanging out on this wonderful holiday weekend. We hope you guys are having a great time. And if Mom is watching, I hope you're having a wonderful Easter as well. How you doing, Mom? Very nice. Mike Quarter Irish. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 West, and many people say they hate it, but I don't understand all the hate. I even got choked up at the "he ain't your daddy" line. Tweet is out. I never said I hated Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I said it's not a great movie. It's barely even.
I don't like it
It's kind
much.
of an okay movie, but it relied far too much on gags and a cool soundtrack. I think Ego the Living Planet probably could have been executed a little bit better, but there is a great moment at the end. When he decides that the Guardians are his family, and he turns on his dad and stuff. But and then the gold people I thought was executed really, really poorly. The Sovereign or whatever they are. So, Jim, you didn't like it either?
No, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's one of my favorite movies. I've talked about it that I went with my kids and it was their Star Wars and all that. And then when I got to 2, I think maybe my expectations were real high, and I just kind of was bored in it and got kind of, I didn't hate it, but I didn't get the feel of that first movie, which is hard to replicate in every movie you see. So, yeah,
I'm with you.
it just,
That's where I'm at.
I'm looking
Ryan
forward to
Wilson.
3, but I'm worried, so we'll see.
Well, I feel like they kind of redeemed themselves in the Avengers Infinity War and Endgame.
True. Yeah.
And they actually had James Gunn come write those scenes. So for me, that's a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Wilson says, is Amazing Spider-Man the #1 selling comic because shops are used to buying lots of copies because it's a top seller? Shops never sell out of those books.
Yeah.
We do have a retailer here. Why is ASM the #1 selling comic book despite sucking, Mule?
Well, it sucked before. And it was #1.
But it wasn't the #1 seller. It was Batman.
Sure it was. No. I mean, well, numbers are numbers right now. We don't know what they mean and if it's real or anything like that. And again, are we talking about selling from the store? Because just
those
let
are
you
sales
know,
to customers. ASM selling better than Batman.
sales to
According to
customers.
those rankings that we
Yeah,
did.
but that's some BS, man. We all know that. I order more Batman than Spider-Man, and I have more Batman left over at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I didn't order as much Batman, it would be the same as Spider-Man. Anybody can not order so that you don't have extra copies on the shelf.
But Batman sucks right now, too. This is like one of the worst issues of Batman that I've seen in years.
I believe this to be true, but I won't read it.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, all right, yes, partially customers just come in and this is what they bought.
But I think Marvel is just a lot hotter than DC right now. As well.
Yeah, Marvel's always hotter than DC.
Yeah, like a lot hotter.
It's always been, I mean, really, for the most part, it's always been this way. Even in the 60s, Marvel's just got that fresh newness, I'm a kid kind of feel. Less
Hello, fellow
likely
kids.
these days, but
Really,
definitely
like right now, how
more
many
new kids on the
essential
block.
Marvel books are there, would you say? Essential buys.
It's usually like mini series of things that you like. So it's not necessarily, I would say, hey, Clobbering Time's an essential book, but if you like this type of thing, you're going to really like this book and it will feel like Marvel. Whereas, I probably wouldn't recommend She-Hulk to just anybody or anything like that. And I don't know if that's necessarily, I mean, I know it's not essential, but people like it. Some people like it. I'm getting off topic. It's Spider-Man, man. It's Spider-Man. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're not going to buy comic books all of a sudden? I need something to sit on that shelf that people care about, that people say, hey, I like this character. So you're going to make sure you get Batman. You're going to make sure you get some Spider-Man. Jesus, there's been no Justice League for how long now? We need these characters being, seen by other people so we don't just have to rely on Spider-Man and Batman and, some of the other ones. Wolverine.
Wes, they don't show the numbers, do they? The sales numbers,
No,
the
they
figures.
don't.
But
No.
it must be
So-
close. And 2 Spider-Man issues a month as well. There's 2 issues
Well-
coming out each month.
And I was going to...
Oh, no, Wes is talking about Comic Hub, and it's like, maybe 200 stores or something.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. You know,
okay.
there's 125 stores they say that are reporting in on that, and that's such a small.
Only
125, yeah.
Out of maybe
stores.
More than what
possibly
DC
20.
and Diamond or Lunar
It
and
is.
Diamond and Penguin are.
Now, I
reporting.
like the idea that it's point of sale stuff, though. It's not just numbers shipped, because you know they'll overship, and a lot of stores will even overbuy. So this is bought issues. But I even said on Wes's video of it, it does end up skewing numbers by the end of the month as well. If a book comes by the end of the month, you only have a couple weeks or a week to sell and things. But they're the only numbers you get right now. So you have to go with them. And they, you know, whether or not, I think that it's pretty, you know, indicative overall of some of the trends. And, you know, Spider-Man, it amazes me that it just keeps selling seemingly better when it's just seemingly worse and worse. But I think that maybe it's just a car wreck. Maybe people are just like, I gotta read this shit so I can, you know, bitch and moan with people, because it's so bad. But it's Spider-Man, like you said, it's Batman, Spider-Man. I always bring up the idea that way back when Rob Liefeld was arguing with Scott Snyder, when Scott Snyder was crowing about his Batman sales, and Rob Liefeld said, dude, it's Batman. You don't just, it's every Batman, it sells, and that's what happens. So
This is what Gobbett says. He says, don't come back to things that disappoint you. And Gray, have you watched or read Eden Zero? It's a good replacement spread the word before it ends. Have you read or watched Eden Zero?
No, I haven't even heard of it. Is it Image?
I don't think so. I don't remember anything like that.
But thanks for the rec, Common Sense.
Well, it's a manga series.
yeah.
I'm the crazy guy in Japan who doesn't read manga. Whereas in Panois, I know, right? I'm
You've
still
not
hooked on
integrated
American
well.
comic books.
Oh my goodness!
All these.
Oh, that's been around a while, I guess.
Yeah.
Rate that 7.
2018, that's the one.
I'd rather see a Finn movie that does justice to his character by making him a Jedi, maybe even revealing that he's Luke's son. That'd be weird. Like the guy kidnapped Luke's son and made him become a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Put him into servitude. I don't know.
Hey,
I
man,
think
Luke gets stranded on planets like he's Starbucks.
Exactly.
You know what I
he
mean?
just becomes the Captain Kirk of
He's
fucking
Kirk.
Star Wars. Where he just
I was
lays-
thinking more like Wilt Chamberlain of Star Wars.
Yeah, really. Oh my.
I think Finn's a done character at this point. The moment that he gets sliced down the back, which is a great moment, and then the next episode he walks out and he's got tubes all flying off of him and he's an absolute joke, and then he's making out with some ugly chick. And you're like, I guess that character's done.
They just dumped his character, didn't they? It's a shame because he
Yeah.
had such potential. Yeah.
Well, I think they could see that he was going to stand out more than Ray, and they were like, well, we
Right,
got to put him
that's
on the
it.
back burner.
Yeah. Well, even John Boyega has been very public about how he hated, how the direction his character went, and that's kind of not what they had promised at the beginning.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
He even had a video, like he did, I think he was on some show with, who played Phantasma, the lady.
Phasma? You talking
Phasma,
about
sorry.
Gwendolyn Christie?
Yes, he did a show with her where they were like having to reach their hand in boxes, and he openly went on Twitter and was like, "I will promote this every single time over any of my actual Star Wars movies." That's how the guy feels about his Star Wars.
This is what Gobbett says in response to Boyega. Boyega trends because fans want to see Finn to come back and be a Jedi, and Ben Solo trends because toxic Reylo fans keep Ben dead and burns. I don't get the Reylo thing, but it's too bad what happened to Finn.
Yeah,
That's
you
too
end
bad
up
what
with
happened to
Rose
Ben Solo.
Tico. Anybody who ends up with Rose Tico is having problems.
Well, the worst part is he's saving the day. He's like about to save all of his family, and then she wrecks him and then sexually assaults him on the battlefield.
Exactly. Star Wars.
It was such a strange moment.
That's how I did my hands,
in that movie the entire time, and then we're getting to this moment. I actually had a little goosebumps going. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Finn's gonna do it!" Oh, like this is, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
They kept ruining every goosebump moment anyway, so it's like there you go again. Because there was so many times you're like, why didn't you do that? Oh my god.
It's like, she's really going after him. That's pretty physical. Not a good moment.
When
Doc
she
says,
asked,
"Smash the like button." What do you say, Josh?
No, I was gonna say they should have just like made it even more epic. Is when she went after him to start that final grand Star Wars music. Dun-dun-dun-dun, you know, just
Yeah.
this is it. We're done. Show's over.
It's not going to be fighting that wins this war. It's going to be love. What a stupid moment.
That's because
God,
Luke
it's-
blew up the Death Star with love, if you
Yeah,
remember.
absolutely.
That's- Big hug.
Common Sense says, Jim, if you think Rey is good because she's a nobody from The Last Jedi, you're wrong. She's overpowered with no training. Ezra Bridger is a better example of a nobody. I agree with him.
That's not why I think she's good. I said the concept of the character could have been good. It's everything that we've been talking about. You know,
Isn't the concept of the character that she's perfect in every single
I'm
way?
saying before you got to that, I like the idea behind her. I mean, if
When
you sit
wasn't
there
she
and say,
perfect in the movie,
when
though,
wasn't Luke? I love
I don't
Luke.
know
He's
when
my
he got
favorite
his
character.
arm cut off.
The guy went from Womp
When
Rats
he made out with
destroying
his
the
sister, he
biggest
didn't seem
deal.
very perfect.
No, that's perfect
but
to
he
me. I
had,
went to West Virginia University. That's right
Wow.
on point.
My
So
goodness.
I'm gonna let's
I
rewind.
think Jim
I hate
wishes
Ray.
he hadn't said it.
I like when I saw what the character could have been. I was like, okay, this could be cool, and I kind of like it. And then they ruined it. But
It can be
You know
a
what
very
they need to do for Rey? They need to give her a good outfit. You know, like Luke kind of had this. She wore the same outfit all 3 movies, right? And Luke changed outfits.
She wore drapes.
He looked
basically.
cool. He looked cool on Hoth. You know what I mean? He looked cool when he was on Dagobah. You know, and
yeah.
you gotta update these
And
characters.
the fighter
so they
uniform
look
was pretty
cool.
dope too. They made orange look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Mm.
it's just like, you know, you gotta, and they got him out of that. Is what you're saying? They got, you know, the first part of the movie, he was in his Rey robes, and then he was out of it when he's like blowing up the Death Star, looking cool.
I love
He's
how like
Getting the
Obi-Wan's
medallion
supposed
at
to
the
be
end. She never did that.
hiding on that planet, and that's why he's dressed like that, because that's what all the people look like. And then next thing you know, all the Jedi dressed like monks from that planet.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah. Well, the trend caught
That's
on.
George Lucas. Though.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool.
What a coincidence.
He doesn't understand biology or anything.
well. What
Jim
what
really
Ray,
loves Rey is what we need to be putting home, right?
Well, the big concept here is Josh like Wakanda. Isn't that what?
They did say Wakanda,
Wakanda
forever.
forever,
Deflect-
Josh. Let's
deflection.
get back to that.
Everybody said Wakanda Forever deserved an Oscar, multiple Oscars.
hey,
I remember.
the
Nomination.
no, what Ray
I
is
did.
really, really, really good at though is still sitting on the shelves of the toys aisle at all.
Collecting dust.
Yeah, that is true.
Chris
Does
says
it better than
Star
anybody.
Wars. Chris says Star Wars has gone full MCU. It's Bo-Katan. It's the Bo-Katan show on the Acolyte is about the patriarchy. Rey has to make Luke look bad by recreating female Jedi Order. So the Bo-Katan show, I guess, is the Mandalorian now. I guess she's taking over.
I mean, I like what's her name from Battlestar.
Katie
everyone likes
Sackhoff.
her.
Yeah, Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah, I like her a lot.
I like her fine, but why the fuck does she keep taking her helmet off?
Contractual.
She's not Judge
Yeah.
Dredd, apparently.
Got it in the contract. I get to take it off.
It's goddamn Sylvester Stallone as Judge Dredd.
She got flagged.
Exactly.
But she doesn't have a Rick Schneider or Rob Schneider. Remember that?
Yes.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also he was also a Demolition Man with
Mm-hmm.
That was an
Demolition
okay.
Man's a really good movie, though.
I
like
love
that
Demolition
movie a
Man.
lot.
It's a good one. You get the good Taco Bell scene. Dylan Lindsay. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful Easter. Finn could have been a great character, but he was a victim of modern writing.
Mm.
Well, he was a victim for being male, and you can't have the male character being a star in a film these days. He needed to be secondary and less important to Rey, and he should have been the standout character.
Yes.
A stormtrooper that has a moment of conscience, joins the other tide, and then they try to make him fight, and he always has to battle with his own conscience and who he is and undo the training that he's had for a lifetime when they try to make him a killer.
That's like the only. That's
was
the only
story
main
to tell.
character you need, right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He should have been the new Luke, not necessarily with any connection to the family, but somebody that was force sensitive and could have grown into, finding out that there was strangely a Jedi in the
He could have been some
Stormtrooper.
type of stormtrooper that was specifically trained to fight Jedi. So he would have been, aware of lightsabers and stuff, and you find out that, yes, he is force sensitive.
No.
Since they certainly tease that quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean they could have done a number of different things with Finn that would have been much more interesting than just making Rey the fucking Mary Sue that can do everything and is somehow still connected to the entire original trilogy. Should have just been some regular chick. She could have been the Han Solo in this movie and gone from there.
I don't
probably
think
would have
Daisy
better.
Ridley has the charisma to be a Han Solo.
Yeah.
The
So
problem
Doc,
is they tried to make her Luke, Han, Obi-Wan.
Everybody.
She was just
Yeah.
everybody, and it didn't work.
And what Doc's saying is he wishes Amy Schumer would have played Rey Skywalker.
Amy
Exactly.
Schumer would have been. She
She'd
has that
rock it.
charisma.
Yeah, why would you even come on, why would you tease us that way?
Yes.
And why don't we make Aquafina into what was that the other chick's name?
No, please.
Common sense says if you're writing how you would explain Rey being overpowered with no training, the easy answer is that she's a clone. I hate how the original The Rise of Skywalker made it stupid. The easy answer was she was one of Luke's students, and he didn't want her to die at the hands of Ben Solo, and he mind wiped her, and she forgot her training. That was the easy answer, right?
Yeah, and
That-
so she has it innately already in
Yes.
her. She just does.
She already
Yeah.
had the
Realized
training, but
it.
it's been wiped away from her. It's
And
still there
then
with her.
Luke has a little bit more that he did, other than the whole thing that he's gonna kill Han's son is just so weird. Anyway,
Wasn't it weird because he done nothing?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you
Just-
get Grogu in here being trained by Luke, and he's going to get murdered by Adam Driver.
It's just, yeah,
Maybe
it's
Yoda
just,
doesn't make it.
yeah. Well, yeah. What are you gonna do? But still, come on, man.
Rate that 7. Midi-chlorians are not the source of the Force. They just show up in the bloodstream of those who can use the Force.
Yes, we know this. It doesn't
That
matter.
still,
It's still
upsets me. Right?
it still makes it less interesting.
It's a faith and a religion kind of deal. I don't need to go to
And
a
it's
doctor and find
hereditary,
out
it's
if I'm,
passed down from parents
you're
to-
more Catholic than you are.
So are they
this.
like mutants? Is that what they are? Everybody-
Apparently, yes.
I mean, before
They're-
it was a religion. I mean, they wanted to make it less a religion. Is that what it is? Do you think hey,
That
kind
doesn't
of like
work, man.
kind of like reality? The more we get science based,
Yeah.
the more
yeah.
God maybe
He was
disappears. a little
stupid.
bit.
He was trying to answer a
That's
question
true.
no one ever in their lifetime asked.
They find out it's just high cholesterol is what it really is at the end. And they're like,
You've
oh,
been
well.
eating so much Arby's that you never have
Arby's
the Force.
does it. You didn't know that's the training to be a Jedi.
I ate a big
Give me some
Montana
more of
every
that
day for
jus,
3 years so I
please.
could have this power.
And then we could find out that Arby's colonized the galaxy
Exactly.
Yeah.
or the entire universe because it's
Just
a
every-
galaxy far, far
They
away.
made the pyramids and everything. Arby's.
Arby's
In fact,
were,
if you
were
didn't
the
know,
ancient
it
aliens.
says Arby's on.
Chris J827. I was wondering if any of you watched the Absolute Comics with Benny and Sal. They used to be good comic reviewers. Now they just defend modern comics. No, I do not.
They always did that. I've
Yeah,
watched some. Every time I watch it, it's anything that sucks. They'll just defend it, and it's just that's part of the reason why any sort of new comic press they're nonsense. Nobody could watch that and not think they're a joke. It's
There
a
you
hot
go.
take. I also
Mike
like
Jim's
Ray,
not a
so
fan.
what do I know?
He likes Ray and he doesn't like those guys. That's how
Yeah,
much
really.
of a
I mean,
shitty they are.
seriously.
This fucker said Ray was the best character in Star Wars history.
Yep,
Probably the
all
dumbest thing I've
time.
heard since Josh
All
said
time.
that Wakanda Forever was the best MCU movie ever made. It was strange.
Academy Award winner. Just keep remembering
Miss
that.
Maria, I am so angry I'm going to write a Star Wars based story with a male soldier who discovers he has magic powers in a world only women can use magic. That'd be a good story.
Actually, that's not a
Yeah.
bad idea for a story, actually. It's like Why the Last Man,
Yeah, I was just thinking that, Jim.
but magic based.
I'm just going
onto
to
something.
wait.
Let's have
I'm a-
Teenie Howard write it.
I just
never
want Michael Bay to produce a Hallmark movie
Yeah, that'd be awesome,
Ooh, that
too.
would be good.
or
I
a
like that.
Lifetime movie.
Mecha
Michael Bay
going
was
around.
a better choice for a Star Wars movie than that lady that they got for the Rey movie.
Michael
But
Bay.
Jim's gonna watch it anyway. I don't get it, Jim.
I'd love it. Mecha going around getting their ex-boyfriends, their due diligence. Oh, it'd be the best. Michael Bay.
And aliens. There'd be aliens.
Aliens, explosions everywhere. Oh, it'd be the
Spinny,
best.
Michael Bay spinny twisty cam.
Yeah.
With
It would be the best viewed movie ever. It would be through the roof.
Odin 87 says, "Happy Easter, everyone. If you want a good read, if you want a good stormtrooper turned Jedi story, read Kyle Katarn's Dark Force trilogy and play the games. Great stuff. I believe the games came out first, right? Kyle Katarn is based on the video games. Obviously, there's been some comic books and books as well, but that's one of those original characters that they've never used that they probably should. That people like a lot. As far
Well,
as
remember
Star Wars
they threw all the EU stuff into the trash can.
Yeah, that was not a very smart move. Instead of writing their own original stories everyone hated, they probably should have just went and made some of the stories that everyone actually liked.
Yeah, or just cherry picked from all that and made a best of.
Yeah. So this guy's name is Odin, so I'm imagining he likes Vikings. Do you like Vikings, Josh?
Do I like Vikings? Sure.
Yes. Viking culture, Norse mythology, all that stuff, invading England.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch The Last Kingdom on Netflix?
That sounds really familiar. I'm trying
He's
to
a
remember.
Saxon boy. He's of noble birth. He's kidnapped by Vikings and raised by them. He becomes a warrior that's trapped between two tribes.
Wasn't that the one with Charlie Hunnam from fucking Sons of Anarchy?
No, that was a movie about King Arthur.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is a TV show on
No,
Netflix.
I haven't seen this.
The movie that's going to finish up that entire series, there's 5 seasons, comes out on April 17th. If you're smart, you go watch that because
My
might
kids
watch
love
it.
that. My kids love that show, so I don't even know if they realized the movie was coming out. I'll have to tell
April
them.
17th.
No,
7
I'll tell
Kings
them.
Must Die. The conclusion of The Last Kingdom. Definitely going to be watching that one. Very
I'm gonna
excited.
go watch it for the plot.
You should. It's not like Game of Thrones. There's not a lot of dick or tits in it.
I was just being stupid. No, it really does. It really does actually look really good. I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's based on a set of books. I forget the writer's name, but they're called the Saxon Chronicles. Good stuff. He's a really good writer. So
Is it Bernard Cornwall? Is it him?
yes,
I heard they're very good. Is the series good? Where is it worth watching?
it is absolutely fantastic. And as a Brit, you would like it a lot more than I because it's basically the founding of the country of England
Yeah.
from Edward
nice
or not Edward. Yeah, it's Edward the Great, whatever his name was. Very good stuff. So we're through the Star Wars. Thank goodness.
I can't believe we got this long on Star Wars.
I can't. People love Star Wars. Now let's get into this Fall of X stuff. We got a big X-Men event that's not really an event. It's just a bunch of books with the same trade dress on them. And we now have some details regarding this Yule Carter. I know that you're really excited. We get some more Steve Orlando. We're going to get some more Steve Fox. We're also getting a Torn Grunbeck written tie into Fall of X. Is this going to be the feel good X-Men event of the year?
Well, I hope not. It's called Fall of X, right?
It'll make me feel good if they all die.
It's not going to happen, though, Doc. Why even get your hopes up?
I know. End of Spider-Verse just ended up with more spider people.
They are losing. Marvel really has a void of talent, especially at the. You mentioned it on your video about Jason Aaron. Like, we don't even love. A lot of people don't really love Jason Aaron, and if he's not going to be doing stuff for you, and then you don't have Donny Cates, you really have. Jed McKay can only write so many books.
Correct.
They ain't all that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Donny Cates obviously isn't there right now, and Peter David is sick, so he can't do some of those good throwbacks he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, and Torrin Grönbeck, I've heard good things about her Thor, but I haven't really been reading them lately. So there is, thank goodness Jonathan Hickman is going to have a $9 book.
People buy it?
Sure, why not? But no, Steve Fox. Oh my God, didn't
He's
he do
awful.
that X-Men annual? Just no good. And I have like a a Twitter friend that's like all about Steve Fox and how his other books that he read has really given him the belief that he's going to do great X-Men stuff. And yikes.
I couldn't disagree more.
I couldn't disagree more either. And
We
it's
already-
it feels performative a lot of times when I see people just loving stuff so much, you know. Sometimes it's the other way also.
Did you just wink at me?
No, I didn't wink.
I saw that shit. What are you
No,
trying to say, Yul? Are you
I'm
saying this isn't the real me?
Wink, wink.
Yeah, well, you can kick up some dirt a little bit, Wes. But I mean, I think it's deserved. You know, it's already the wind's there. You know, you're just helping it along.
Sometimes if you read enough bad stuff in a row, you do get more frustrated than you should be at the actual thing you're talking about, just because you're fucking blood.
Well, geez, try ordering it. Try looking at it on the shelf. I mean, if Spider-Man if I ordered a lot of that and I still had a bunch on the shelf, yikes.
There's a simple solution for this. Stop selling new comics. Only sell back issues.
But I mean, I gotta say, you know, there's a lot of stores out there that I hear aren't selling new comics or, you know, winding down selling new comics, just buying manga or whatever. Thankfully, I'm still selling new comics also. And I mean, the less places there are to get them, come on over to Fantastic Comics, you know.
Hey, they're on their road to complete financial success, kind of like the success of a series where it gets canceled and turned into a mini series. The future of Marvel, they'll consider it success because the only place to buy new comics will be Fantastic Comics. The rest of the entire world will have said,
Be like the one blockbuster in Alaska.
Yeah.
Last one.
Yeah, it'll be the last. You'll be the last comic shop, Yul. And,
well, I won't be the last. I mean, I could see myself getting out any second.
We're being hyperbolic, Yul.
I'm just saying. I mean, I would love to be the last one because, you know, the thing is like, we know there's going to be a physical comic made. There's underground comics. There's independent comics. People want to put collections together of stuff that they're doing. It's a fun medium to read, black and white, backwards, you know, forwards. Thankfully, there is a lot of people that are out there that are doing different type of things. It's when that person comes in the store and they want like 15 specific things to be addressed in a comic, and I'm like, you're fucking crazy, you know. But that stuff is out there, so I think, you know, you can be a comic store selling comics that are new. You just have to know exactly what your customer base wants.
You gotta have your ordering on point. That's where you're gonna get in trouble.
Well, I mean, I feel like you want to curate, and, you know, it's kind of like a library. It might be a, you know, whatever kind of library out there. But mine's a comic book library, or purchasing store.
Graphic novel library? I know you love graphic novel term.
Yeah. But that's all.
Man, what happened to Josh? Look at him. He feels so indifferent to the entire thing here.
No,
I was fucking check out.
No, I was actually thinking about my comic book store because I mean they haven't stopped selling new comics, but they've cut back severely to the point that there are certain people that will come in and be like, "Man, I can't believe you don't have this," and he's like, "I ordered 1 or 2 copies because no one expressed interest leading up to it." But they just rearranged their entire store, so when you walk in, the first thing
comics
you see
are in
is
the very back, aren't they?
Their comics are in the back, and you know, and they've had their store for
Funko Pops and T-shirts.
Gosh, I'm wanting to say going on like 30 years. And Dave was like, the owner, he was like, this is the first time I've ever had to do this. He's like, but it's the least interest of my entire store. And they've got a square footage wise, they've got a really large store. So he's got a whole half side that's games, because that carries a lot of their business, but they lead with manga now. You walk in, the first thing you see is manga, and then you've got some kind of knickknacks scattered around and whatnot.
That's
Josh,
funny.
is manga comic books? Because Doc says it's not.
I mean,
it's manga. It's not comic books.
It's Japanese comic books.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like,
It's a word
you
is
know,
all.
if you want to get technical, yes, but it's definitely separate. It's a different entity. It's a different structure. How you read it is different. Like there's a different mentality to it. Because you could even say are comic books, and ultimately, yes. I wouldn't say they're not
they're
novels.
graphic novels.
So
No. I hate that. I hate the word graphic novel.
They
It's such a it's a highfalutin word, so that you can feel better about
You
reading.
just said
Spider-Man.
highfalutin and you're talking crap on people. Get out of here with that.
if you
I'm
you
telling
feel
you,
stupid.
for people that want to read Spider-Man, it's so you can feel better about it.
I'm sorry, but if you consider manga the same as a comic book, and you consider Raina Telgemeier and Dav Pilkey the same as comic books, then Little Golden Books are also comic books, and
Sure.
we've been measuring shit wrong for the entire time, and at no point do we have everything is a fucking comic book. Does it have? You know what?
An instruction manual is a comic book as long as there's pictures.
Yes, exactly. If there's if that's your definition, just because it has pictures and words, then my fucking IKEA, you know what? No, my IKEA manual to put together a bookcase is more of a comic book than an American superhero comic
And
book
you can
because it doesn't
send
even
that
have
shit
fucking
in.
words.
It's a silent
can-
issue.
You can send that shit in and have CGC slab it for you, Doc. So there you go. Get a 10
Cave
on
drawings
that
are
one.
comic books.
Yeah.
What do you think, Yule? Is Dogman a comic book?
Yeah,
Doc,
of course.
Doc
I
gets
mean,
freaked out about this. His fucking blood pressure goes up just thinking about it.
look, that would be like saying Archie isn't a comic. No, it's a book.
No, it is a comic
It's an
strip.
OGN, if I have to say, the proper thing. It's an original graphic novel. It's it is a story that is drawn all the way through. It reminds me exactly of all sorts of other comics that I don't read for kids. No, I think it's a comic book for sure. But I want to go back to what John tried to say for a second. I'm sorry. We always put our comics at the back at the old location. In fact, my other store was the same that I used to work at was the same way. And the concept was people actually went to go get comic books. And so you forced them to
pass
go
them.
all the way down.
It's like
You had to
putting the
see
milk and the
every
bread in
single
that
thing.
back corner.
Yeah,
Exactly. Just let you know. I mean, for that store, that might be a thing, but usually, if comics were really good, you would want them to come on in and.
You'd want them in the window
Yeah.
because that was going to get you your foot traffic. Right?
Well, I mean, there was always stuff in the window at these
Yeah.
stores, but we would have big displays and graphic novels, and you'd walk in and you'd be like, "Holy fuck!" There's all this stuff, and then I was just coming in for a Spider-Man comic book. I didn't know this stuff exists. That's where your T-shirts, and you have to wind through the store. Hopefully, you can again IKEA it.
Action figures.
Yeah.
Doc,
I
what's
think
your
part of
favorite
it
comic
is-
book? Is your IKEA the best publisher out today?
You know what? At least they tell a coherent story that it gets you to the beginning, middle, and end. And when you're done, at least have a fucking bookshelf instead of
And
instead
one
of
screw
kindling.
left.
Yeah, you end up with a couple extra screws.
And with a couple extra. Right?
Yeah, but Doc, Calvin and Hobbes is a comic strip, and just because
Yeah.
it's put in book form doesn't mean it's a series of comic strips, right? I mean, I wouldn't call that. I mean, it is comic storytelling,
Is it sequential?
but it's not
Yeah, that's not a
Just
comic.
feature. You know what I mean?
My point is that sequential storytelling does not a comic book make.
Yeah.
Just because it's sequential storytelling doesn't make it a comic book.
Like that Calvin and Hobbes is a collection of strips. It's like
Yeah, but
Peanuts.
he's trying to
Garfield.
compare
Yeah, I know.
Calvin and Hobbes to.
Yeah.
All right, how about this? Peanuts is not the comic strip is not a comic book, but Peanuts published by Boom or IDW, whoever did it, that was a comic book. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Doc?
it was published differently, and it was a different.
So you're
type
saying a
of
comic book has to have staples? So
No.
Squarebound doesn't
No.
count?
No.
I'm just
Well, first
trying
of
to
all,
get with you.
Squarebound does have staples.
Okay.
If you pull the cover off, the cover is glued over stapled pages. So just so
Okay.
we're clear,
All right.
and they're stapled on the top rather than
Sometimes
on
you
the
can
side.
see it after many years.
Yes. Once if you take one of the old square bounds, it's stapled. It's not. But no, it doesn't have to do with it doesn't have to do with the actual format. It has to do with how it is put together, how it is published, how it is read. And it's all of these things added together. That's what makes it a comic book. So a comic book is essentially a 5 to 200 page thing that's stapled together, that is sequential storytelling and is read left to right and panel to panel.
What about just the fact that manga is just Japanese for comic?
Okay, fine. It's Japanese.
But doesn't
comic.
that just make it a comic, though?
No, it doesn't. It makes it a Japanese.
I mean,
comic.
I don't know what Japanese people, how they say automobile, but it's still just a car, right?
They said it in 16 Candles, but it's hateful. I'm not going to repeat how they say it.
I'm over here, guys. As you know, I'm in Japan, and I see manga as manga. Manga is manga. It's a separate thing, but that's just my opinion.
It is. I mean, that's not to say it's any better or worse. I'm just saying they're not the same thing.
But Japanese, they don't have comic books, right?
Okay, correct.
No. I mean, your version of comic books.
No, they have comic books. It's their own
They have those
version
big
of
phone books.
Yeah, it's like a phone book.
Version of a
book
comic
would
book.
be a piece of that book also. I mean, the underwear ads aren't the comic strip,
The definition of comic book is culturally subjective. And what I mean is, in Japan, what they would call a comic book, it would not be a 22-page pamphlet from Marvel Comics.
Sure. But you
or Archie or anything else.
Though.
But they would call it American comic book the same way that and they would not consider it part of their same industry. It is a different industry. That's my point. It's not. It's not.
What about when they license Star Wars, Deadpool, Spider-Man, and they put it in their books? Do they not call those? Don't they consider that comic books there though?
You could ask
manga.
Ask Gray on that.
Spider-Man manga, Batman manga.
When they are doing it
but it's
locally,
still
but no, just because the character is licensed,
Andrew Roxwhite writes a novel about Batman, and then they make the comic book of it.
Okay,
which one is the comic book?
If I license, say, fucking, I don't know, so pick some Knight Rider. If I were to, does that make it?
Why did they never do a comic on that?
Here, if I license Knight Rider and put it into a 22-page American-style, read left to right color comic book, is it a television show?
No,
because that's what you're saying.
Oh, what about a season 7 Buffy or something like that? Can I?
Okay, that's just retarded publishing practices. And
they continued from the TV show, dude.
Guess what? It's not still a television show though.
But I know what the actors.
The minute that I licensed, when I licensed a thing from a different medium and a different industry, it doesn't stay that industry.
And I hear you there.
So if I'm in Japan and I license Deadpool and make a manga of Deadpool, it is not a comic book. It is a manga.
All right. What about cartoons that are long in movie theaters? Are those movies?
Depends on whether or not it reaches a 90-minute.
Animated
90
short.
minutes.
It's got to be 90 minutes.
90 minutes is essential. Like, I think it was 88 minutes is what Hollywood considered the difference between an extended, short or like an extended,
What about those Looney Tune movies that just have like
Wes, it's Spiral Man
bookends, and then they just have other episodes.
Wes came back and we're still going on this bullshit.
The chat's asking for X-Men. Return to X-Men,
talk
please.
about X-Men, though.
I love Mark's comment. It's like watching a kid pull the legs off of a spider.
Basically. What do you think, Gray? You're the only man in Japan that hates manga. Is manga comic books?
I don't hate manga. I just said I always see manga as manga.
You love X-Men?
Kerry Nerdigo Crates is saying manga is a Japanese word for comics. He's saying, but I think manga is manga. They don't call them comics here. And American comics are not in manga shops. Does that make sense?
Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes, a hot dog is a sandwich.
Oh, see now.
Oh, Jesus.
We can't get into this.
We're never gonna.
But the minute you sell it at a sandwich shop, everybody goes, "What the fuck is this? It shouldn't be here."
You should cut the hot dog in then it's more of a sandwich.
If
That's
Jimmy
an open-faced hot
John's-
dog. It's something else.
If Jimmy John's started selling hot dogs at their sandwich shop, everybody'd be like, "Why in the fuck?"
Well,
They're
it'd have
not
to be a
going
good
to
hot
say
dog to
it's.
stand up to that bread, but I would do it.
They're not going to say, "Huh, this fits perfectly at my sandwich shop." No, they're
Also-
going to say, "Okay, we're now a hot dog. We're now a sandwich shop with hot dogs."
Are you just a contrarian on everything, Doc? You don't like hot dogs and sandwiches now?
Didn't say that. I'm saying they're not the same thing.
But it's a type
That's
of sandwich.
my whole point is that these are not the same thing.
I never said they were the same thing, but they're a type of comic book.
No, they are not. Comic books are one thing. Manga is something else. Picture books are something else. They are all their own individual things. Makes them neither superior or inferior to one another. They're just
hamburger
not the
is probably a
same
sandwich.
thing.
A panini? Yes, that's a toasted
Yeah,
sandwich. What are you
panini's a
talking
sandwich.
about? Panini.
To be a real like nerd, to be a Japanese nerd, manga is two kanji. Man means whimsical or like kind of funny, and ga means pictures. So it's like whimsical pictures or funny pictures. It's almost funny books, like Eric always calls comics.
So what is funny about Overfiend?
Time out. Look,
It's sequential storytelling that's their own. That is their own. That is culturally, used by them. Whatever comes from outside of their culture, they don't consider part of their thing. The same way that we don't consider stuff from outside of our culture part of our
That's not
thing.
true. America's a
Time
melting
out.
pot.
Time out. Gray, I just put something in the chat. Right? Is it
No.
not showing up?
I
For me.
Oh,
I did.
Freaking Wolf is
Private
leaving us for
chat?
perch.
Okay. So Gray, that comment, what is that plant? What do you call that plant? Do you see
Well,
it?
behind me.
Eggplant.
behind you?
No, in
No,
the
the
comments.
eggplant
In the
the-
It's
chat.
an
He's got an
eggplant emoji.
Yes. Except where Gray's from, they don't call it eggplant. They call it aubergine.
Yeah.
It doesn't
we
mean it's
called it-
not an
yeah.
eggplant.
Fancy eggplant.
They just
Nasubi.
call it a fucking aubergine. It's the same
lost.
goddamn thing. So a comic book is sequential art storytelling with text. A manga is sequential art storytelling with text. It's the same fucking thing. They just gave it different names.
Yes.
That's what I say.
Case
But-
closed.
Boom.
Yes.
Let's talk about this
Wow,
Fall of X,
he-
Doc.
Let's talk about
Not you,
eggplant.
Doc, because we have already talked about it. We got a video coming out tomorrow.
Yes.
So what do you think about this, Gray? Are you excited for Fall of X, or are you already tapped out of X-Men?
I've been tapped out since after Hawks and Parks. I gave it a good chance, Wes,
so
and I
good,
think I
wasn't
got
it?
the first 5 or 6 issues of the solo X-Men, and I don't know, I wasn't feeling it, so I'm not reading it. I tried reading some of the recent Kieran Gillen just for Dark, and man, Jesus Christ, that's a
Why?
lot of
It's so
words in those
slow.
comics.
And it's gibberish.
He can write,
Good
can't he? He
job.
can certainly write a lot of words, I'll say that.
You guys drove Jim away.
Oh, Jim,
With all of
sorry.
your nonsense. I blame Doc.
What about Uncanny
I don't know.
Spider-Man? Wes, you excited for that? Is anybody?
I don't understand how it's an X-Men event
don't
to
know what
launch a
it is.
Spider-Man book
Yeah.
with an Avengers book and an Iron Man book all tied into it.
All right, so Iron Man, they introduced, what is his name? Fei Long?
Fei
Or
Long is
someone-
in, yes,
He's
been
the
an X-Men
the
villain.
X-Men villain, and he's hanging out with Iron Man right now. He bought Stark Enterprises.
Okay.
So there's a reason why they're together. Spider-Man, I guess that Dark Web, Mary Jane, Moira McTaggart thing is still a reason why he might be involved. I assume Uncanny Spider-Man's only going to be like, what, a one-shot 3-issue miniseries or something during this time?
Man, if it's not Tinny Howard, I'm going to be disappointed. She needs the Spider-Man book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this would be unprecedented. I mean, the first woman ever to write an Amazing Spider-Man book. I'm winking. That was a wink.
I saw you wink earlier. It was disrespectful.
So I assume some of these titles are going to be, ending. I mean, obviously they're going to end because it's Marvel, but I'm not hopeful that Iceman's really going to be.
You don't
an
think
ongoing
Spectacular
series.
Iceman or whatever Astonishing Iceman's going to make it?
Astonishing. There we go.
Well, it can't last. I mean, it could never last. None of anything other than Wolverine as a series, any X-Men character is not going to last, as a book. You might get 20 issues of Mystique or something like that, but That's a success.
Are you
Cable-
predicting 20 issues of Iceman?
No, I'm not. Cable is pretty good. You're right, Cable. But
and possibly Deadpool. Those are the
Deadpool.
three.
All right, I'm not going to give you Deadpool, but I was wrong about Cable. How's that?
Oh, Cable. Yeah, I mean, well, both of
Deadpool
them.
ain't no mutant.
Yeah,
Deadpool
correct.
ain't no mutant.
And Deadpool has never hit 100 issues, so I will grant you that.
Oh well, I go legacy on that then.
Yeah,
We're
I mean,
talking about.
So, like, I understand some of the connections, I guess. I just don't know about all these titles. They cannot They cannot be.
It's
long.
not an event. It's not a story. It's just a bunch of stuff happening at the same time that they're going to call follow-backs.
Is this going to be
Yeah,
like
that's
Ten
it,
of
that's the problem.
Swords, X of Swords, and like
That was
one
actually an event. There's a story that happens
Yeah,
in
there
Ten of
was.
Swords,
Yeah, I guess you're right.
technically. But this is going to be like Summer of Symbiotes that they just announced. It's all the Venom comics are going to have a trade dress on. Okay, it's
I
not
just
really.
want to end it so that the X-Men can like go and
Be X-Men again?
fight the Hellfire Club. You know. I
Let's
just
hear
want
what the people
Juggernaut
have
to
to
be a
say.
good guy. You know.
Godwin says, pick up Beware of Odin's Eye if you like Vikings. I do like Vikings, but I prefer watching British people beat up Vikings. That's why I like.
Wow.
That's why I like the Last Kingdom, because they're fighting them. It's pretty good stuff. Gray, do you like Vikings? They did obliterate your country.
Luckily, I wasn't there at the time, so
You are very lucky.
He's
You would've
old.
been raped
He's
and
not
pillaged,
that
though.
old.
Not as old as Jim.
No, I was there. It was nasty.
I
Look,
enjoyed the Northman though. That was a great movie.
I've known Gray for a while. He's known for when he gets drunk, when he takes the tea away and starts hitting the booze, he starts yelling for reparations
Yes, he's
because of what the
really
Vikings
upset.
did to his
Vikings
country.
did?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Reparations.
You burnt
What did
down
the
my...
Romans ever do for us?
You burnt down my tea house.
Gavin says Orlando and Fox.
Yeah.
And Fox is bringing back Gimmick, VIL, a self-insert character from Children of the Atom. She's not a breakout star. Stop lying, Marvel. So that is that character, Doc. So we were confused
I
who
was
Gimmick
right.
was. We couldn't remember.
Gimmick.
Gimmick was the fake black girl Gambit. From
I don't think she was
'cause they-
fake black. I think she was really a
No,
black
no,
girl,
no,
but she was
no.
a fake Gambit.
Yeah, the black
Yes.
fake Gambit girl.
Yeah.
From the because all of them were cosplaying somebody else. She was the Gambit cosplayer.
Yeah.
You got to be
You had
careful
to-
saying fake black girl in this society because I was like, they had a character that wasn't black identifying as black, and I would have believed it coming from Marvel. Like, I'm just gonna.
That's why I had to fix that one up. Doc was going off the rails on that one. Goblin Sense also says Realm of X looks interesting. Just wish it was not part of Fall of X. Just Magic Adventure. Maybe Troll joins the team. Is Torn Groombeck a better writer than Tinny? Yes, she's a better writer than Tinny.
No.
But it does feel like a continuation of what Tinny Howard was doing.
It's exactly how I looked at it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just Betsy Braddock's going to end, and then we're going to have Realm of X, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
No, it's not clear yet whether or not Betsy's in this one. It seems like
Oh.
it's
I
Magic.
think she's been
and-
replaced by Magic.
and Danny Moonstar.
Oh, well, very good. So Betsy Braddock can still keep her book, I guess, during that time. Oh no, that's just a miniseries anyway. I think. Sorry,
There we go.
felt like I
Terrence
killed that.
Bernard. It's like Tap, Seltzer, and Evian water. 3 different branding markets and appeals. Euro, US, and manga is like water.
There you go. I like it.
I do too. I like that.
It's a branding thing, Doc. Get on board. What the hell are you thinking? Fatal J dropping the $5 holler for Josh.
$5.
What's going on there?
What's up, Jay? How you doing?
Look at his hat. It doesn't even fit his head.
That's like wearing like a Chicago Cubs and a Chicago White Sox hat. You know what I mean?
To me, it looks like it's attached to the wall, and he's kind of gone and
Yeah,
put
he's
himself
like-
in it. Then
Maybe he just
Kinda.
photoshopped it or something.
Josh, I didn't know you were so cheap. That's all I'm saying. What does Fatal J know?
Good to see Fatal J in the house. Good luck,
He's
Fatal J.
cheap,
Maybe we'll
he's
get him
not
on next
easy.
weekend. He always brings a little bit of madness to the show. He's got such bad ideas and about what's good and stuff. You know?
No,
Never
because
know.
he finally changed his tune on the underwear situation. So
He wears underwear again?
As
I
far
do
as
not.
superheroes are concerned.
Oh, the
He's
trunks.
like, I think he's down with the trunks. Unless there was an LOL. I can't remember
really?
after that.
Trunks on the outside.
Yeah, he's okay with it now. So
Yeah.
you can have him back on finally.
There we
He's
go. We've
changing
also
his
got this news coming out. Jason Aaron is no longer a Marvel exclusive writer, Doc. Jason Aaron had obviously an interesting go at it. He had a really long run on Thor, a pretty long run on Adventures. Typically, his stories start out pretty interesting, and then he completely retcons everything about the character and changes what they mean within the universe so he can write the character he wanted to. I think Jason Aaron has done some really good stuff on the indie scene, and it's probably a good thing he's leaving Marvel.
My thought is get out. And don't let the door hit you on the way out.
You don't
In
like
fact,
Southern Bastards, or what is it, Scouts?
I don't care what he does that's not at Marvel. He can go do that until he's blue in the fucking face. I don't give a shit what he does elsewhere. He's free to fuck it up or make it wonderful as much as he'd like. But when he's touching characters that I care about in a universe
Fondling.
I care about, he's molesting them. He's
my.
not even fondling; he's straight up molesting them. And
I got to start reading more.
Missed that episode.
What is this?
I'm
a
missing
TOI
out
Bible?
on. Holy moly.
no. What Jason Aaron is okay. Here, if any of you, how many of you have read The Authority?
I read it.
I have,
The
yes.
Mark Miller portion of The Authority.
Those are all right.
Do you remember Earth Inferno? The Earth Inferno story with the evil doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Aaron is the evil doctor that goes back in time and molests the engineer as a child. That is what he does in literary sense towards every character he touches.
You're just
Available
mad
at
because you think
Fantastic
he ruined
Comics.
Wolverine.
He broke Wolverine, he broke Thor, he broke the Avengers. He
That's
broke
what I'm
the
worried about.
X-Men fundamentally. Everything he has touched, he fundamentally damages.
Fucked up Punisher pretty good.
At its foundational level, he breaks it. The Avengers, their foundation was a bunch of heroes came together to stop a threat they couldn't stop by themselves. Now it's some cosmically ordained organization from 1.5 million years ago.
And I'm worried because I think, like you'll even reminded us, there's no Justice League book right now, and then Jason Aaron announces that, hey, I'm out of Marvel. I don't want it to. I'm with you.
What do you?
I have a
I
feeling
saw
that
you said you wanted him to write for DC.
I have a feeling
I
that
don't
he's
remember
going to
that.
end up writing Justice League.
You said you wanted him to write Batman or something.
Jason. Aaron. Oh no! I said, oh, that sounds like he's going to do a Black Label Batman.
I'd rather
I
have
can't
Jason
wait for
Aaron.
him to be- oh.
I'd rather
I
have
did say
him
I
on
wanted it
Wonder
to
Woman.
happen.
Wonder Woman, I think would make more sense than Tom King, but I don't. I have a feeling that they're going to just not read the room and have him on Justice League,
No, stop that.
and
We just
it'll be awful.
His Avengers was like Scott Snyder's Justice League. We can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Jimmy says he wrote the best Thor of all times, better than Walt Simonson.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that he didn't break the character.
Yeah, well, that's true too. You could write a great story breaking a character. You're right.
I mean,
You're
Grant-
wrong, Jimmy. You're
Grant
wrong.
Morrison Grant Morrison wrote a great X-Men. The only problem is he broke the X-Men with it.
Yeah.
Because he fundamentally altered what the nature of the school was. The school wasn't a place that was a sanctuary for people. It was a place for Xavier, and he had an unspoken agreement with the people that he allowed. He gave them room.
Children?
Yeah, the team. He gave them
Children.
room. Sometimes it was children, sometimes it was adults.
But
It
the
was-
problem
he
with
gave-
New X-Men
No, no,
was that they were having further evolutions, and it was more important at that time for there to be open enrollment. you
No,
know?
it really wasn't, because at the same time, the agreement was that you got free room, board, access to all this. You had a wonderful life in exchange for being his strike force.
His
Right,
that
well,
was the
sure, but
agreement.
Beak wasn't in the danger room or anything like
Yeah,
that.
you know what? Beak didn't deserve a place to sleep. That was Xavier. Xavier's dream was that eventually that his school wasn't necessary, and he couldn't only fundamentally afford to take care of a couple dozen mutants
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
instead of thousands.
I mean, it
and
did
thousands.
change the school, but I mean, it's still a school for mutants at least. Now it's nothing like that. Now X-Men is nothing.
It was the school. It was the school for useful mutants. Now it is the school for freaks.
It's not even a school anymore.
Bullshit, Doc. Because
Morrison's X-Men was
Storm
garbage.
invited the Morlocks to come live with the X-Men all the way back in the Claremont days.
Yeah, when
and
Xavier
the
was
Morlocks declined. The Morlocks did.
Yeah, when Xavier was on another planet. When Xavier was on another planet,
easily been the same way as the new X-Men. It just
Xavier never would have done it. That's my point. Xavier never would have done it. It broke who Xavier was.
Yeah, because again, he's off stooping Lalandra in space and everything, you know.
Doc, why is it you can forgive Grant Morrison,
always
but
about
you can't forgive Jason Aaron?
I can't forgive Grant Morrison. And the thing is, I don't even really hold it against him completely for X-Men. I hold it against him for what he did to Wildstorm. I don't purchase anything by Grant Morrison because we
got to get a video of this so that you know. So that, like, you need a featurette about the Wildstorm and Grant Morrison, because that would be a really good video.
He legitimately killed the universe.
He only wrote 2 issues, didn't he?
That was the problem. He wrote 3 issues out of what was supposed to be 24, both of which were the flagship titles of the line, and then let the rest of the fucking line die on the vine. Because what happens whenever you don't do flagpole or tent poles? Guess what? The tent falls down. He got handed the tent poles, walked away like a bitch because he didn't like his fucking reviews on the first 2 issues of Authority and the first issue of Wildcats because he's a fucking critical pussy. And
can you really destroy a franchise in 3 issues though?
Yeah, by not
it
releasing.
didn't keep going on. I think what it really was is Jim Lee didn't want to keep drawing this shit. You put Gene Haw on a book, and he never gets anything done on time. And then Jim Lee is like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to do 12 issues of this."
Hey,
that's how I really believe it went.
He was the one that wanted to come back and do it.
Hey man, that cover was great on Wildcats 1.
It was a fine cover, and the interior was okay.
Awesome.
But the thing was, that was supposed to be the entire reboot and it was their last major chance. They knew it going in because the agreement with DC was changing, that they now had to, instead of the line had to be profitable, the books had to be profitable. And not just the company had to be profitable, the comics had to be profitable. And when the 2 tentpole books never came out, all the rest of the line suffered and never managed to take off.
Doc, have you ever forgiven a writer that you thought destroyed X-Men?
No.
When did Chris Claremont destroy X-Men?
He didn't.
He kind of did, man. When he came back and he did that.
I would say
every time Beast talks about pirates.
I didn't have. Extreme X-Men was still all right. I didn't understand half of it. It was just, but it was not central. And now his one story in that X-Men Black was fucking terrible. The Magneto one.
So you hate Chris Claremont now too?
No, he did a couple.
Doc forgave Tinny Howard. Oh,
that's interesting.
Who? When?
I don't know. That's what
and
Jimmy
Vita
said.
Ayala, I heard Jimmy say too.
Is Jimmy messing with you?
Jimmy is just wrong.
He's cruising for a bruising his way.
You don't.
Like,
you know what? Matt Fraction, but you don't like Jason Aaron.
I said the adoption. Okay, in the threads here. I did say that God. I didn't say God Love Man Kills ruined the X-Men. I said the incorporation of God Loves Man Kills into the foundational influence on the X-Men.
It's the writers who think that's the only X-Men story ever written. Yes,
that's the most important,
yes,
and the most central story. It is not. It is far from it.
It's just a powerful story, is all.
Yeah, Elseworlds.
It should have been Elseworlds. Nah, I don't know.
Doc, are you going to be okay? Is your blood pressure?
Yeah, take your.
Oh, dude, my blood pressure when I start yelling about shit, my blood pressure goes down. It's wonderful.
He's
I already have-
releasing.
I
Yeah, I
already-
know it is. Like,
it is-
I'm the
it's
same
very-
way, Doc.
It's cathartic for me. This is therapeutic. No, and my blood pressure, even for being a fat guy, my blood pressure is like 90/60. It's fucking weird. I go to the doctor and girl takes
That's
my
like
blood
my
pressure.
wife.
Yeah,
I mean,
girl
the
takes-
fat guy part.
Yeah, oh,
Jesus,
Your wife's
man,
a fat
you're gonna
guy?
get killed.
Yes, my
your
wife's a
wife
fat
is
guy.
going to beat you with a
She-
What are you doing?
I just heard her shuffling in the next room. I better watch it. No, her blood pressure is crazy. I have blood pressure
Shuffling,
problems,
huh?
and I'm not a big guy, and
Yeah,
she ends up,
shuffling.
hers is like 70/10. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like they took my blood pressure when I was sick and went to the doctor one time. She took my blood pressure, and then she went to take it again. I'm like, your number wasn't wrong.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
fat guy with low blood pressure. It's weird. She's like,
All right,
oh.
so let's get back on Jason Aaron. Jewel, I know you're
Yeah.
a bigger fan of his
Yeah.
indie stuff, obviously, than Doc.
Yeah. He's great, man. His I didn't read Scalped all the way through. He it was powerful though, for sure. I highly recommend his Vertigo story called The Other Side, which is all about an American going to Vietnam and a Vietnamese going through boot camp, or their version of it. That one's really good. Southern Bastards, maybe it can finally get finished. That would be wonderful. That is an excellent series. I'd love to have a reason to start purchasing it for this story again. Yeah, I've liked Jason Aaron. I liked his Thor. I think it went on way too long. I think his Avengers went on way too long. Some of the stories in Avengers were actually good. If you can
It
get,
started
like,
out really nice until it hit War of the Realms.
yeah, I mean, I didn't like War of the Realms. You pointed out the Phoenix tournament that they had was trash, but
Terrible.
every once in
The
a while there's
Age
like
of
a nice,
Khonshu was bad.
yeah, that one I didn't love as much either.
Mm-hmm.
But every
Vampire
once in a
Nation
while,
was good though.
yeah, every once in a while in an issue of Jason Aaron's, I just feel like there's good writing. Like there's still a current, like he can, like his Robbie Reyes is really well thought out. I thought when he writes him, and like, oh wow, this is the first time I've liked this character. So like Jason Aaron can still pull it out, maybe when he wants to or when he's able to, but it's just so he does so much, and it's the style of storytelling. You're either telling like 5-issue stories now or some 50-issue epic, and I'm really sick of that stuff. So I think a change of scenery, as long as he's not doing that kind of stuff again, he could
He
even
said
go
no
to
more
DC and do
ongoings for
stuff.
quite some time.
Yeah,
I mean, when
Probably
you
smart.
start
Good.
with Jason Aaron and he starts Avengers with like celestials falling out of the sky, where do you go from there? Where do you think you can build to from that point? I mean, I just want to ask everybody.
I
thing
like
that
the
scares me,
idea of living in a dead celestial. I don't know. It felt very D&D to me, so I kind of thought it was cool.
I think that
you
Jason
know.
Aaron, the problem is that everybody says the change of scenery, and that does work a lot of times. But like a Mark Waid, he comes back to DC. Oh my God, he's got the magic back. But Jason Aaron reminds me more of a guy like a Bendis, that he's going to change the scenery, but he's going to make the scenery very similar to what he just left and start changing
He's gonna
things
change
that he
everything to
doesn't
suit him.
really know, just to change it to suit him. And that's what I would worry about the most with Jason Aaron, because he does like to change things, and whether he has a grip on, what to change and how to change it. Bendis came in and said that he wasn't going to change anything. He wasn't going to rock the boat as he was changing everything. And that's what worries me about Jason Aaron.
No, Jason Aaron will just get a Black Label title, though.
Yeah,
And it'll
that's
be okay.
fine. That's cool.
And they're going to be short, so maybe he won't drag on too long. Too
Quarantine
long.
these people.
Quarantine.
So
these
Jim,
people. Again,
is saying he wants Jason Aaron at DC Comics. Breaking news.
I would actually like him on Wonder Woman more than a Tom King. It's not my first choice, but I think that he might come in and, get that book back to at least being something viable and something maybe cool. I don't know, but, that's me. I like Ray, and so I'm not to be trusted. But again, I don't mind getting, but if he comes to DC, he's one of the better DC writers immediately. they don't have a lot of good writers, so he would be one of the top writers there. He's a great writer when he's hitting. He just hasn't hit in a long time. And that Avengers just was so lack of focus. I said it. I always say it's Jason Avengers present or Jason Aaron presents. He just wanted to do other stories, just called it Avengers. Hot take.
Josh, do you have thoughts on the subject?
Uh,
You're reading emails, aren't you?
No.
You're reading emails. Come on, Josh. Don't lie to me.
I'm trying to think of what my take. I'm with Yul. I'd much rather him go back into his own stuff as opposed to head to DC. But I do think he's going to do some DC work. I fully expect it. I think it's all going to be like
Jimmy
stepping
from
in
Comic Quirks
minis.
claims that he says he has to write Superman before he retires, or he's not a writer.
I don't know if I want
I
to
hope
Superman, but
No.
Does that
I'm
make
sure.
JMS a writer then?
like everybody wanted to see Mark Russell's Superman as well. You know what I mean? Like fuck that.
Not me.
No.
No thanks.
The only person I know that liked that comic book was Yule,
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
even though he didn't read the second issue or
I
the third
didn't
issue.
yet. I gotta get to that. It's sitting over there. I gotta read these Marvels too.
I also agree that Jason would be better than like 99% of the writers at DC right now. So who knows? I don't.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe he should do manga. You can go to Japan with Gray. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tough to crack that deal.
I don't know. I've only read his indie stuff, whereas I didn't really like his Marvel work, what I read of it. So, but as you said, Southern Bastards was pretty good. That's about
Scalp is
it.
good.
I liked his Ghost Rider. I know Doc hates it, but I loved it.
I'm trying to
like the
remember
other
which
one,
which one was his
He
Ghost
had
Rider.
it's just I remember Tony Moore did the art initially, and then I think Ting Un Hut did, and then he had to do a mini series to finish it up. I think with that Boschi guy, and I haven't read it in a long time, but I have the big omnibus of it. It's not even that big. It's like a $75 style, and I really enjoyed that because I'm not the biggest Ghost Rider fan. So if he changed something that people don't like, you know, sometimes it's just what you need to get other people into stuff. You know, the Ghost Rider fans read it regardless, you know.
Doc will never forgive him because he made him dad read.
Yeah, I mean, plus the fact that him and Cyclops had the exact wrong positions, the exact opposite of what they should have been.
I agree with you.
Schism.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I was bitching about that at the. I'm like, what the fuck? Wolverine is getting upset with sending kids into battle.
Yeah, he's trained how many? And he's had
like
so many.
What? It was the African girl that they brought in.
That Ao or
yeah, that's
Thor?
the one.
No.
Who? She had like hot and cold powers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
she's
side was
Iceman and
hot, one
Firestar.
side, yeah, together.
And yeah, it was just like it was like all of a sudden he just had like a total change of character, and I agree.
It was
Yeah.
Jason Aaron that because Cyclops was the one that historically wanted to keep children out of the fight and didn't think they should be trained and thought they should be sheltered until they're older and able to make
Well, he
decisions
shouldn't
for
have killed
themselves.
Xavier then, you know.
Well, probably shouldn't have, but fuck you, Bendis. Well, actually, I don't know that. I don't.
Jason Aaron was there too.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. He hadn't
was
done that
Schism
yet.
first? Oh, you're right.
Schism happened
You're right.
first
Yikes.
because, yeah.
Oh, because that was like set up for AVX, though,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
It was part of the setup for AVX, and then it explained why Wolverine had his own team over at the mansion. It was like 3 years before then.
It had Frank Cho art, though, everybody, so it was okay in that regard.
Yeah. So, yeah, Jason Aaron fucked that up completely. So, no, I don't forgive him.
All right.
Well, I hope he
dead
stays
on.
at Marvel and stays away from DC. We already took Mark Waid off your hands. It's not cool. We don't need another one. It actually worked out well once. No need to try fate. Let's see what the people say. Common Sense says, I salute Jason Aaron's Weird World. That one was his best.
That one was excellent. Del Mundo on art also. Very good.
Very nice.
I have him at the store.
Common Sense also says, Perch said War of the Realms was planned to be a standalone Thor arc, and Marvel editorial made it into an event. Is that true? Yes, it is.
My
He's
understanding.
been setting it up as a story arc.
That's how it usually works.
Yeah.
Just
I
like
think-
Hellfire Gala was supposed to be one issue in Marauders and became an event.
And I think that
Axe
Axe
Judgment
of
Day was an Eternal story arc they turned into an event.
Yep, and because the Eternals book had already been canceled, and they wanted to still write it. They did the same with X of Swords too. That was supposed to be a small crossover, across a couple of the X books that ended up being the entire line.
And Knights of X or the the Swords. I got you.
Yeah, and same with Absolute Carnage was supposed to be the next story, like a bigger story in the Venom book, and they pulled it out and made it into its own event before they got to King in Black, and that's why King in Black was kind of a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah, Absolute Carnage didn't make sense as an event, so that is true. So you were saying you have copies of Weird World if people want to contact you and buy them? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think I have like a copy or two. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Contact you.
Let me.
on
I'll
Twitters.
check on it just to make sure. I'll go look at
Big-
the computer real quick.
It's at Big Boy Blue. Big Blue Yule.
Big Blue Yule.
It's very complicated stuff.
Well,
I
I couldn't
think
do
we've
Big
come
Blue
to the end of it.
Yule.
Time to talk about some comic book recommendations and get this show on the road. We got Easter coming up, and Daddy needs some chicken nuggets. That's how we go. Gray, it was wonderful having you here. Didn't know you didn't like manga. It's kind of weird you being here. Glad you could come in here and talk about some comic book stuff. Is there anything on your channel that people need to be aware of, like an interview or maybe a really good review you've done lately? 'Cause there is a link to his channel in the video description.
I had a super special guest star on recently. Dropped a recording. Some guy called Jim from Weird Science
my.
Comics. Yeah, it was amazing.
You guys did a crossover without me.
I know.
goodness.
Sorry, Wes. I know you're
It-
too busy.
I still had diarrhea of the mouth. I talked for the both of us 2 hours or something. It was supposed to be like 40 minutes. I wouldn't shut up.
It's true. You got to rein it in there.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
For Comics Ware's recommendations, even though it's kind of a YA style, Nightclub issue 4, Mark Miller, the teenage vampire story drop. That was really good. Enjoyed that. Only $1.99 again. And I've been getting back into some old classic stuff. This is for Doc as well, because I don't think he doesn't like Grant Morrison. I've got me original of Invisibles, even over here in Japan. I had them shipped over when I first came. I'm going back through these. I'm going to try and get Jim into them. I'm going to break Jim's mind with Grant Morrison's
no.
Invisibles.
I love the Boy issue when you get to find out about Boy. So good.
There are some great ones in there. It's a bit all over the place, but there are some good issues within it. Good stories.
Mob King
Very nice.
King Mob. He's just great. Is that his name?
That's Grant Morrison in it, yeah. King Mob.
It sure is.
Just remember that.
Oh, you got the
This one?
5th issue. There's different
Yeah.
covers. They all look the same, but they have different words on them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Cool.
There's like 3 of them, I think.
These guys are nerds.
That's one you got to read Vertigo issues, not trades, if you can help it, because the letters pages are excellent.
That's so good. I really miss those. Yeah.
Well, that's what we got Twitter for, right?
That's right. It's not the same though. Well thought out. You have to think about what you're writing. Erase. Put it out. Lick the envelope. Send it out. Just not the same.
Well, let's get the names up just in case people didn't know who we were, I guess.
Wow.
Twitter or YouTube comment sections, Wes, and the videos. That's a new letters page, isn't it?
Apparently. All right, Jim, you're still alive. You're still with us, although it sounds like you likely pissed off your wife, describing her as shuffling instead of walking.
I'm in trouble. Yes,
My
yes.
goodness.
She actually did shake her fist at me. I will tell you that. But
I
so
think
who knows?
You deserved it.
I don't
Lucky
want
you
this
didn't get
to end.
wrapped in the head.
We got to keep recording, because as long as we're recording, she won't do anything.
We're not going to
me.
do one of your podcasts where it goes
No,
on for
not a
11
13
hours.
hours. We won't do that. Thank God. But I'm going Nightclub number 4 as well as my recommendation. Also, just to point out, if you are looking to get into some new manga, things like that, like Doc always is, Shonen Jump, they're going to be having a bunch of weeks in a row. They're going to be having about 4 new series that will be starting. Some, if you are aware of, like a Food Wars, stuff like that from before. Some pretty cool and big writers are coming back to do some stuff. So yeah, the next couple of weeks on Shonen Jump, and if you get the app, it's real cheap. Wes knows it's one of the best deals you can get.
It is the best deal in all of entertainment.
If you are looking to get into something new as it begins, there are going to be a bunch of new, and it already started with some of the things coming out. But of the Western stuff, Nightclub #4 is really the only thing that I'll fully recommend.
Very nice. Common Sense says, Josh, I was right about Taylor using Injustice for John. I'm imagining he's talking about the latest issue of that John Kent miniseries.
Oh, I didn't read that.
His kidnapping.
Oh, yeah.
Did you enjoy that one? Jim, did you recommend it?
No, I'm not recommending it. Tom Taylor has a thing where, and I don't want to spoil everything, but the idea where, okay, well, here we go. The idea that he ends up where the heroes have to be so squeaky clean that they have to have their villains take care of the other. You ended up having it in Nightwing. Heartless was the one who kills Blockbuster. Now we have this nonsense in the John thing because he just doesn't want. He wants to have his cake and eat it too with these things, and it comes off as just too sanitized and nonsense. It just was kind of a letdown. I was looking forward to seeing what
it's probably the best John Kent
do.
Superman book he's written.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the problem.
It is. And yeah,
and
but it's not great. And I just get angry about just the way he's dealing with characters and the progressions.
Yep.
Very nice. You got any more recommendations, Josh?
Oh, we weren't on me, but the only thing yeah, sure, I'll take it. The only thing I picked up this week was Deadly Duo. It was the only thing that seemed like it was of interest. And then
did you read it yet?
No, I haven't read it yet.
Oh,
because the stuff came late. And then,
it came late.
Yeah, and I was on a stream
it's the
Thursday.
retailer's fault. The poor local comic shop let you down, huh?
Yeah. Come on, Dave and crew of Ground Zero Comics. How
Mom
dare
and
you?
Pop.
No, I would say go pick up some old books. Like I was on Roman of the Empire, his stream Thursday night, because once a month he'll do a groundbreaking comics where it's just people talking about their favorite comic storylines. And no one had talked about Batman Year One yet, so I brought it up and reread it because of that. And then also talked about the Multiversity Pax Americana, another just excellent issue.
You're cheating on me too.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been referred to as a barrack bunny by two other people, so apparently I'm a hoe that gets around. Also, I'm still stuck on the fact that Gray doesn't read manga and he's in Japan. And I have to feel like people come up to him and they're like, oh, have you read this? Or, oh, don't you love this? And Gray's like, no, I don't like manga. And then he probably follows it up with, I'm American. Even though he's not. He's just throwing us under the bus.
Thinks he's American. He's got the voice for it.
It's like a telephone book, guys. 20 stories. 20 stories.
How much does that run me? About $48?
No, they're really cheap. They're like about it's about $3.
Exactly.
It's just pulp. That's why it's really cheaply printed. It's all just pulp paper, different colors, really basic.
$3. Yes.
And they still sell. They still sell.
That's what I recommend for trade paperbacks, collections of comic books. Make them cheaper than the comic book, but also cheaper in style. And the comic book will be something you want to keep. Because it's a collectible.
Nice. It matters.
It matters. It will make it matter more.
Yeah.
Or make the other book so great and so expensive that it makes the comic book look cheap in comparison. That's the way they'll go, or they do go.
Very nice. Yule, do you have anything to say?
Yeah.
You got any recommendations? Anything going on at the shop? Any videos people should know about?
Fantastic Comics is a YouTube channel. We do all the other stuff on socials, so you can check us out. But
1,000 subscribers. Those guys are monetized.
Almost soon. Gonna be soon. I gotta get my watch hours up, but 2-hour shows will do it, right?
Absolutely.
I got some comic books.
Every day we'll do it. Trust me, that's what I did.
All right, so someday that might happen. Get the Spider-Man Spider-Boy variant cover, and I'll tell you why. If your store, go to your store and see if they have it. Just be willing to spend $4 for it because you're going to go up and be obnoxious if you don't buy it then. But if they are selling it for increased dollars, think about getting another store. This is a good way to figure out who you're working with. But some people do that. Nonetheless, that Amazing Spider-Man, those are all right. But this is really good. Black Phoenix by Rich Tommaso. Yeah, I got it right. He did Spy Seal and all sorts of other stuff. Dark Corridor. And then this is a Dark Horse comic book, Where Monsters Lie. It's about a gated community of not just serial killers, but like monster serial killers, like the evil clown and the guy that tortures people. And the art is, if you don't dig it, I can understand, but it's pretty cool. And I think it's funny and I like it. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Where Monsters Lie.
We've also got HH and the fellows from Sigma Comics. Shout out to the Think and Critical team for bringing the very best in comics news and commentary. Hit the like button and show your support. Absolutely. And definitely be supporting Sigma Comics and all of them. They are going to be available nationwide. If they aren't today, it's going to be within the next few weeks. I know it's coming up.
Yeah, I've ordered it already. Can't wait.
Very nice. Hopefully those all sell out, and congratulations to all those guys. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. Happy Easter, my friend. I hope everyone is ready to celebrate this weekend. Doc, I know that you are a heathen. You will not be celebrating Easter, but a happy Easter to you anyway. And do you have any comic books to recommend?
Well, thank you. All right, let's see. What do I got? I'm going to go with Stormwatch 37. This is the first appearance of Jack Hawksmoor and Jenny Sparks and a bunch of the other characters that would end up going on and becoming the Authority. But not Apollo and the Midnighter. They don't appear until Stormwatch Volume 2, number 4. And we got some Danger Girl, number 2. This is the Dynamic Forces foil
nice.
variant.
Foil. That makes it even better.
Yeah, it's the Dynamic Forces foil variant. It even got the fancy certificate from them.
What was that, like $45 or something?
I don't remember what the fucking... I think I got it for like $8. Then we got, let's see, X-Men Annual number 1. So it's actually a reprint of like X-Men number 9, and there's some new material in it, but this is when they went to the annual for the first time instead of the giant size, because giant size was what their annuals were, and then they went to the king size special and then to the annual, but they kept the numbering after this number 1. So go that. And then last week, after the show, I went and might have bought a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 361.
360 is really up in price also.
It is, because it's the first cameo of Cletus with the symbiote, but he didn't have a name yet. So
very nice.
ASM
Common Sense wants to know, why did you need the certificate, Doc?
Because it comes with it.
When you order Diamond, with Dynamic Forces, they have increased price comics, and you already know what it's going to be signed at if you get it slabbed. They have slab editions also and stuff like that.
And this one was their foil version of the regular issue number 2 that Dynamic Forces only carried. So you couldn't order this one just normally. It was you had to order it through Diamond, you had to order it through Dynamic Forces. And they were doing that a lot in the 90s. Dynamic Forces, they were kind of like a company that just did a lot of variants and foil stuff.
They still do.
Yeah, they
do. Quite a few, yeah.
All right, Doc. Jimmy says ASM 361 was his first comic he ever bought. He had no idea who Carnage was. He just liked the cover.
It's a classic cover.
Yeah, I mean it is a classic cover. It's I think it's Bagley's first real classic cover, and what really kind of pushed him from just being the guy that followed up McFarlane and
Eric Larson
to being his own guy and kind of becoming the who ended up being the number 1 Spider-Man artist of the...
We're not going to start this debate. You
late 20s.
I'm not doing it. I'm not saying anything.
Doc, what do you think about the avatar below you? Is it okay for Jim to have the Doc's right avatar instead of you?
I am pushing it hard here. There you go.
I don't care.
It's a big push.
Nice.
I always know Jim's up to something when I see his avatar disappear, and then I just become like, hyper focused.
Yes.
Frank
That's
Zeka says, "Happy Easter, guys! Best wishes to everyone's family." Well, thank you very much, sir. I will be getting back with you either later today or very early tomorrow, because I will be working on Easter evening, although not all that much. I won't be recording anything. So, happy holidays to you too, sir. Hope everything went well on your trip. Are we good? Are we done? Is that Easter weekend wrapped up in a bow? We're done? Till next weekend. All right. Well, unfortunately, I didn't go on the family vacation, but I did get to spend a very nice 2.5 hours here with my nerd friends. And they talked about nerd stuff, and I rolled my eyes, and that's what it was. We'll see y'all next weekend. Hopefully we'll have